Hello. Happy 4th of July, everybody. How are you guys doing today? Are you guys having a fantastic day? Are you guys having barbecues and having all that cool stuff that comes along with it? Try to fix this lighting. There you go. How are you guys doing today? So, today we have a very special, very special occasion for streaming. We are very close to getting to 200,000 followers. So we are dangerously close to getting to 2,100 followers, right? All thanks to you guys. So today I'm gonna stream until I get to 200,000 followers, period. If you guys in the chat are asking what our theme is today, we're gonna draw everything, right? We're gonna be here until we get to 200,000 followers. So if you guys want to subscribe, great. If you guys want to share so you guys can help me in that goal, amazing. That'd be fantastic. I would very much appreciate that. But the goal for today is strictly to get to 200K followers. And I'm going to need a lot of hearts and a lot of little Mr. Hardys to get there, right? So I want you guys to actively try to get as many as you guys can in. I have my protein shake, I have my protein bar, I just got my workout in, I have my books for sale, and then I'm going to start with my lesson. So just actively ask people to please just subscribe and all that stuff. Like if you guys can help me out like that for all the beautiful people out there that love helping in the chat, please just let other people know what we're doing. And another awesome thing, oh, what is that, Mr. Pouchy? What do you have in your mouth? Is that? Yes, it is. It's a brand new watercolor set. Check that out. So the same watercolor kit that is in my store in my little bio. So I'm gonna test it out today, and I told them that it would be an unbiased opinion of these things, right? I don't like testing things and having a biased opinion on them. So it looks like a nice little kit. It looks beautifully made. So I don't have a feeling it's going to be anything bad. I do have this as my alternate. So, you know, it's probably going to be a lot nicer than that. So it's the first time I open it too. So, oh, look at that. Oh, look at that. That's beautiful. Oh, it's like metallic colors on one side. Well, that's dope. Pastel colors over here. So we're gonna probably focus on this little area first. And wow, so this is like a nice little kit. And it comes with 3 little pens, which I already filled up with water because we're gonna be using them a lot today. And it comes with a pencil. I don't really use pencils. Like I like drawing with pen because I think pen and watercolor are just like excellent together. So we're gonna focus on using our Grabby watercolor set to enhance our teaching. And we are going to just start learning. So ask questions, guys. Literally ask questions. Please, like today, it's going to be all about you guys. If we end up finishing a sketchbook because it takes that long to get us to the 200,000, I don't care. I'm going to be here until I get there. So let's see. Let's just write down the goal first so you guys have a clear understanding of today. Our 4th of July special goal is to get to 200K followers. So, awesome. That's our goal for today. So ask questions. Come on, when did you go live? I just started going live right now. So, we get to use our little things. Hello, any tips on finding your art style? Yes, the art style question is actually something that comes up a lot. Let me explain to you guys in a second. Ooh, look at that. Oh, that looks like a highlighter. What? That's cool. I did not expect it to be that bright. Anyways, okay, to find your own art style. So question 1. I'm actually going to number these. Let's see how many questions we can answer, okay? And we'll use little tiny squares for each one. So we will name number 1 right here. Question 1. How do you find your style? I'm gonna make it like a magazine thing, like you know, like they do in Imagine Effects, where they have like segments and then they like spread it out. So we're gonna do it like that, so you guys have like little tiny snippets that you guys can like listen to later. So how do you find your style? Your style is going to be a combination of three things: your ability to understand perspective, your ability to understand anatomy, your ability to comprehend that these two concepts go intertwined with each other, and wherever you fall along these lines, it's going to be your knowledge of your foundations, right? So these are your foundations. So that is going to be a big factor in your style. If you are able to see things in three-dimensional shapes, if you're only able to see things with styling, aka people that draw their eyes like this and stuff like that, this is not part of your foundations, right? Being able to draw something pretty is not part of your foundations. Your foundations are meant to help you figure out where things go, help you figure out placements, movement, and just overall like perspective. So it just allows you to map things out on a world. So you get to ground your objects. This is not in any way, shape, or form a style. This is just the basics of your knowledge. This combined with your style, which is your imagination, retention to detail, to details, and anything that you have drawn that you have liked. Like, so if you've drawn some eyes and you like them, they went into your mental library, right? If you drew an arm one day, if you were like, oh my God, I know how to draw arms now, oh yeah, then you're gonna take this and you're gonna add that to your mental library. Every time you draw something cool that you like, you're going to add something to your mental library, be it an eyebrow, a lip, a mouth, anything that you draw that is going to resemble anything that makes you feel like you learned something or you enhance something or it just gets praise from people is going to end up in your mental library. So all these elements go into the rest of your thing. So mental library and your dexterity with your pencil or your tool of choice. So you need to be able to actually be able to use the utensils, right? So if you use markers, if you use pencils, if you use watercolors, if you use sculpting, if you use 3D programs, if you use the computer, if you use Procreate, if you use anything like that, you need to get used to the tools that help you develop that. And that goes all the way to painting with like, you know, I don't know, the little brushy things and like little scalpels and blah, blah, blah. Like finding your little thing, your own little thing that you really love is going to be like that dexterity needs to be there. You can't just magically think that you're going to be able and capable of doing things without actually taking the time to practice them. Like that's just ridiculous. I don't think anybody can actually do that, right? You can't just magically know a tip and then just know how to do things. If you are very serious about learning how to be a person in the industry or you want to get a job doing this stuff, you need to take it. Wow, these colors are really, really cool. Oh, well, like, hold on. Yeah, like the blue is like ridiculous. Huh, that's lovely. I really like this. Anyways, yeah, so that is essentially what your style is. Your style is going to be whatever you know how to draw properly, combined with how you know how to make it pretty. So your style equates to knowledge plus making things look pretty. Pretty. And that is what leads you to drawing things like anime eyes with like super awesome eyebrows and stuff. Right? Or something more, you know, normal for let's say a comic book or Or screw it, just draw something that's going to give you like a little animated look. You know, you don't have to, but understanding the knowledge allows me to make things look pretty. Without the knowledge of an eye being a sphere with your hemispheres going around it to create the eyelids, without that knowledge, I can't do this properly. Without understanding this, I can't do this. So it's just a matter of taking time, understanding your values, and then going from there. So before we go to question number 2, which we will decide in a second, I want you guys to start hitting that share button because we need to get to 200,000 followers today. And without your guys' help, I can't do that. So please do me a favor. If you're going to sit here for the lesson, make sure to hit that share button. Make sure to hit that little heart button. These 2 things are the only things I will ask of you guys for today. We are going to be here for a while. I have a feeling we're going to be here upwards of like 2 or 3 hours. So if you guys are going to be sitting here for a lesson for today, please just help me out. Help me out. That is the only thing that I request. And ask your questions because I don't really get to see the chat whenever I'm actually teaching. So once we're close to finishing every single lesson, start asking questions again. Please give more tips on what? How to draw hands in any different angles. Oh, hands, cool. Hands. So question number 2 is hands. 2. How do you draw hands easy? Cool. We'll try for that. Let me finish this. There you go. I just wanted one more in there. 2, hands. Why are they hard? Well, hands are hard because we get taught how to draw them badly, right? People teach us to draw boxes, which obviously leads to really stiff looking hands, right? If you just use elements that are flat, they're going to look flat. They're going to be too boxy. You're not going to have movement. You're going to have to add a lot of different elements to be able to make it look like an actual hand with motion. So I don't like drawing hands with a box. Okay? I don't like drawing hands with a box. What I like to draw is actually the connection with the wrist and then figuring out where my middle knuckle is. Let me explain to you guys what I mean. What I like to do is I like to draw my body parts, and wherever my wrist ends up in, the top part of my wrist, right here, is going to align perfectly with my hand. And I'm going to look for that middle knuckle right there, because anywhere that little middle point goes, that tends to kind of follow along, like a spine, like la 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 la, right? So wherever my wrist is, I'm not even looking at the hand. I'm not looking at like the shape of the hand. I'm looking just where my middle finger is going to be. So I go and connect the bottom of my wrist or the top of my wrist to that like a lollipop. From there, well, it's just simple math. How many knuckles do I have to one side of the hand? Well, to the pinky side, I have 2, right? And then to my thumb side, I have 1. So from here, I'm going to add 2 or 1 to my thumb side. I decided this is my thumb side. And I'm going to add 2 to the other side. When I start drawing my fingers, they can be little sausages or little bean bags that come out of here with the right perspective. And you end up with a very good palm of your hand. Then at that point, I don't like drawing the thumb because the thumb moves a lot, right? It has so much movement. Like right there, you can't even see it. Right there, you see a gigantic piece of meat. So that big chunk right here is what I end up drawing, right? So and that looks to me, it looks like a stick shift with a little stick and the tip of it. That is what, to me, that's what it looks like to me. That's what I use as a shape whenever I'm thinking about how to draw the thumb. Oh yeah, excuse me for the fans and stuff like that. It's just really hot and I'm going to be here for a while. So you guys are going to have to like You guys are gonna have to be okay with that. I'm sorry. I'm not normally a very bossy person, but I am not gonna suffer for 3 hours in the heat just for likes. Ooh, look at how pretty they are! Oh my god! Yes, I gotta actually do like a cool illustration with these. Okay, so let's explain the hands a tiny bit more so you guys get a better idea of what this method actually works like. So again, I call this the lollipop approach. Okay. The reason I call it the lollipop approach is because I only need to draw a lollipop coming out of my wrist, from the top of my wrist. There I add my knuckles, and then that gives me the top and the bottom of my hand. That also provides me a place where my fingers are going to come out from. And if I learn how to draw through my shapes, I can actually get really fun hand expressions without having to compromise and like hide things or whatever. Okay. My thumb just has to go towards the one side that has one finger, and it comes out about halfway down the palm into a stick shift, stick, and tip. Stick shift, stick, and tip. Regardless of where direction you are facing it, it's a stick shift, stick, and apart. So as you rotate your hand, you can figure out different right angles for them too. So that approach is going to keep you from drawing boring hands, period. You will not be able to draw, like, it's not a box. Every single hand gesture is going to be a little bit different because every time you move your hand, it's a little bit different. You have so much movement and like range. Like you can have each one of these fingers doing something different, right? And it would still look fine because you have now learned where the placement of the element comes from. So once you know where the knuckle is the center of your fingers. So your knuckle is going to rotate your finger like from left to right with like a little bit of spacing, right? So your fingers can overlap, create a lot of motion, and each one of them can move individually from each other. So you have a gigantic range when you see it like this. When you see it like this, you're literally just segmenting yourself to this little tiny section when your fingers can literally move like independently from each other, like in every single direction, right? You are not bound by these little boxes or shapes that you make. You can actually do this and, like create hands that are really, really, really dope. So let's draw a couple hands so you guys get an understanding of it. Right? So let's say that I wanted to draw like a Spider-Man hand. So we have like the wrist, Spidey, have our top of our wrists. We're going to go into our first knuckle. To the thumb side, I'm going to have 1. To the pinky side, I'm going to have 2. The 2 middle ones are going to be going down because they're going to be compressing. Then we have our pinky that goes up. And we have our index finger that goes up, right? So now we have all our fingers. We have the top and the bottom of our hand already because the knuckle determines the bottom of the hand. Like your knuckle is the bottom of your hand, right? This is the bottom of your hand. It's your knuckle. It's not a squishy part. It's not muscle. It's nothing. It's your bone. Touch it. There's the reason. That's why there's bumps there. Normally, whenever there's bumps, it's because you either have muscle or you have bone. That's your bone. That's your knuckle. The top and the bottom is your knuckle. Okay? So top and bottom. Like your hand is determined, the width of your hand is determined by your knuckle. And the moment you adapt to that, you're going to be able to determine the hand. Like if you could start with the tip of the hand like this, just with the knuckle, and determine your knuckles going around. And then knowing this, you already know the bottom of your hand, the top of your hand. Cool. So now it can be anything you want because the fingers can move independently from each other, right? And you can come up with really cool hand positions that are not going to be boring. And even if you push them to extremes, they're still going to look right. Imagine a person playing pool. I like So as you can see, that is a better approach to drawing hands than drawing them with a box. The other way that I like to draw them, though, since I don't like to teach just one way of drawing things, so that's the lollipop approach. So the lollipop approach. Before we go to the next one, I need you guys to please like the stream, share it, please. We need to get to 200,000 followers. If you guys can let me know how many we're at right now, that'd be amazing. If we already broke 190, I'd be so happy. So we have at our second lesson, someone let me know how many I have. Put it in the chat, share the stream. Put it in the chat, share the stream. Share the stream, share the stream. 188. So we have 12,000 to go. Holy shit. Okay, so we have a countdown, 188K. Cool. Help me share the stream. Let's get this to at least 50 shares. Let's get to 50 shares before we continue to the next part, and I'll show you guys how to do the Pringles approach to hands. The Pringles approach is kind of cool. Because that was the first way that I saw hands that actually made sense to me. Animal anatomy. Okay, fine. We'll do animal anatomy up here. That'll be question number 3. I like that. Animal anatomy will be number 3. So once we get to 50 shares, we will continue our lesson. Until then, what should I draw? Until we get to that, I gotta get some post-its here. Hold on, give me a second. Where are my post-its? Post-its up. Oh, meanwhile, I guess I can show you guys my book. If you guys are interested in purchasing my book, you guys can go ahead and buy them in my links in my bio. Yeah, I normally don't do many pitches. I've been getting a little bit better at it, but it still feels weird having to pitch a book. Like I just don't feel like I deserve it. But I do appreciate you guys, and I thank every single one of you that has ever donated or bought anything of mine. All right, so this is one of the last sketchbooks that we did. Oh, we got to 50. Ooh, we'll save this one for later. I'm gonna do little sketchbook tours while we meet our quotas. How about that? I'll give you guys a little peek at what the art block number 4 will be. But anyways, if you guys want these books, you guys can find them in the links in my bio. Okay, but we got to the amount, and this is the Pringles approach to hands. So Pringles have a very interesting shape, right? They have a little curve at the front and in the back. I love using this shape for hands because this gives you that natural curve that you need for your wrist, either looking up or looking down. It provides you a very natural way to progress onto your actual body part. So I love just drawing that shape in general and then combining that with the other approach, which is just drawing your middle knuckle. Draw the middle knuckle underneath the Pringle, and that is going to give you all of the positioning that you need for your hands. It's going to be incredibly easy for you to be able to map things out now if you see them like that. That is, to me, the easiest way to draw hands. You draw Pringles, you figure out where you want your wrist to come out from. It gives you the palm part here. It gives you the spacing for your knuckles. And it gives you the curvature that a hand has. Like whenever you're not just completely like that, your hand is curved, right? Most of the time it's like slightly curved because you gotta cup things, right? Half the time you're like this. This has curvature, right? This has a curvature to it whenever you go anywhere like this, you know? So if you have that already inside of your shape, it just becomes a little bit easier to understand it. So that is a really easy way that you guys can improve your hand shapes by not necessarily going in and drawing a box or not even a shape of a hand. Just draw where your middle fingers are going to go. right? Let's do a little bit more about how do we grab things with hands, right? Like how do we draw these approaches, but how do we like make something get grabbed? So let's do it like this. If you have to grab something, let's say that your like dude is like holding a ball, right? So if you wanted to draw it with the lollipop approach, all you got to do is figure out where the knuckle would be touching the ball. Drag that to the middle of your wrist. Draw your knuckles going around the ball, around it, and then as you draw your shapes to match the top of your wrist, you'll end up with a much more accurate way of mapping things going around your hand system, right? Because you're literally just drawing objects on top. So that is a very easy approach to doing hands. So ooh, let's try one of the metallic ones. Ooh. So if you guys aren't aware, the people over at Grabby, let me put it right here for you guys too. At Grabby, they sent me over these watercolors to test out. And the lovely people asked that I make a video with them. And they also asked me to give a non-biased like view of things. Like if these sucked, I would say it. Like there's no way in hell I would ever try to sell anything that I don't like to people that follow me. If anyone has followed me for like any longer than like a couple months, you guys would understand. Like there's a reason I don't sell things. It's because I don't know if people will be able to withstand like the standard that I would expect someone to get from something paid. Like if you're paying for something, it better be good, you know. But luckily, these actually are really cool, and they come with a bunch of colors. That's really, really nice. Like, look at that. Anyway, so that is how you would draw hands with the lollipop approach. So let's move on to, we have a little bit of space, so we'll finish off the hands. We'll do another Pringle from a different angle, so you guys see how that works with different angles, right? You draw my 4 knuckles, and I'm gonna make my hands doing a one-handed motion. Okay, as you guys can see, that Pringles approach is incredibly consistent. It helps you with different angles, and it just helps you map out your hands so much more dynamically than you would if you were just drawing based on a style or like a technique that you have like try to pick up. You know, like drawing from knowledge and understanding what you're drawing is such a powerful tool that like you have to learn to develop. Like you gotta learn and then apply, right? So if you're not drawing alongside with us right now, please, I implore you, please grab a sketchbook. Please just grab a sketchbook right now. Anything you can draw on, even if you don't have anything, like go grab a napkin, go grab like draw on yourself. I have often done this. Whenever I find myself at the DMV, I will find myself just drawing on myself. Like I take it back to like high school days, man. Like to me, like anything that I can draw on is a canvas. Like if I'm bored and I don't have anything to do, I will just carry a pen with me so that I can draw. Because you need to put the hours in, right? You need to put the time in. You need to find the time. If you want to succeed at anything, you need to. I was talking about this with someone, like this morning. I was talking about this with someone. It's quite important too. The goal is if you want to be successful in any field, right? If you want to be successful in any field, especially in art, you need to be okay with the monotony that comes with how boring it is for people that don't like it, right? If you are bored with drawing hands all the time, and you're bored with drawing the same poses and angles and practicing, then that's not for you. Because you're never gonna be happy with the amount of work that is needed to be able to succeed in these things, right? So you need to really ask yourself if you are actually in it because you enjoy it or because you think that it's something else is cool. So being very subjective to your own like needs is very crucial in a career in art. Like no one else is going to tell you how important your art is to you, right? No one at all is going to ever understand how important art is to you. No one. Not your mom, not your dad, not your brother, not your sister, not your cousins, not your friends, no one. No one will really know the real value of what your art is except for yourself. So you need to be an advocate for yourself as much as possible because no one else is actively looking to make you feel special for the things that you are special for. So what does that look like, right? What is that like in the sense of real life? Like what does that mean, right? Well, you know what it means to love yourself? It means to not talk bad about yourself, right? It means to not talk down about yourself. Like I was talking to someone right before the stream, and they told me like, oh, I could never. It was like a very meaningful like conversation, and like it got to the point where he called himself like a boring little introvert loser or something like that, and I just put a stop to it. I was like, dude, like, no, you're not. You might not be everybody's cup of tea, but you're definitely not a loser, and you're not boring. You're like literally a decent artist. Like, why would you ever think that you're boring? It just means that you haven't met people that actually have your way of thinking. That's honestly the only thing that I see. So, it's don't talk down to yourself. Don't be mean to yourself. You're your only person that's going to have your back 100% in your entire life, right? In your entire life, you will have one person that is always there for you, and that's you. So, and that person leaves the moment that you leave. So there's no getting away from them. So be kind to yourself. Be kind, be nice, be your own friend. Because again, take it from somebody that's not very social. Like I've been going to therapy lately because I want to be more social. Right? I want to be able to learn how to interact with people. I want to go to conventions and I want to talk to all of you guys. And I don't want to feel weird whenever I do that. So I'm going to therapy so that whenever I do prepare myself to a point where people actually want to meet me, I'm not feeling awkward because it's my career, right? That's my job. My job is to teach you guys, and if I can't teach you guys in person, then that's not something that's going to be very viable. So let's go on to animal anatomy. So animal anatomy is not very different than human anatomy. And what does that mean? You just need to understand where the little things fall. You can even use human anatomy to be able to create most of the animal anatomy that you see in real life. You just need to know where the things bend. So let's take into consideration a human skull. Right? Now we take a basic human skull into consideration. We have a couple elements. We have the nose canal. We have our eye sockets. Next to our sockets, we have our cheekbones, and our cheekbones go into our teeth. Our teeth. The edge of our eye socket is going to be where our temple starts. Therefore, it's the top of your eye ridge, and it creates the side of your head. Okay. This is also going to correlate to where your eyebrows are. So this little flattening of your head, of this complex shape, happens because your eyebrow is there. So whenever you are drawing your eyebrows, now you know that that's where your body starts turning flat instead of round. You're welcome. Round, flat. And that'll help with a lot. But anyways, underneath that, we have our bottom teeth. Our teeth go into our molars, and they follow that until they start going back up, and that is where your jaw is formed. Your jaw follows your teeth line because your teeth are mostly the bottom part of your jaw. Yay! So now you know where that happens, right? So if we keep in mind the eye socket, we keep in mind the nose canal, and we keep in mind that the upper part of the jaw or the skull, this upper part should always be drawn first because the bottom part can move based on whatever movement or facial features, like, or like if a person has an open mouth or someone's making like a facial expression, this is the part of the face that moves, the bottom part, right? The top part doesn't move. So up until your nose canals, right? That doesn't move. All that does not move. What moves is your jaw underneath. And it can have a lot of different positions depending on what type of facial expression you're trying to do. But that is going to help you understand how we're going to draw animals. From there, we are going to take those same elements of eye sockets, the nose canal. The nose canal leads to our cheekbones. The cheekbones lead to our temples that lead to the side of the face. Then here, the nose canal leads up, and then it curves down, the same concept, just differently shaped, and they normally have sharper teeth instead of the nice flat ones. And depends on the animal too, you just have to get used to where those fall on different animals. And then the jaw does the same thing, follows the bottom teeth. So if you want to have the jaw open, just follow the bottom teeth and move them back down in a circular motion, because your jaw rotates in a circle, right? So it doesn't just go down, it rotates in a circle. It pivots from here, by the way. So if you have your jaw closed, it's going to be right here. If you have it open, it's going to be right here. Your bottom teeth, you're going to have your molars that lead to the upper part of the jaw. Same thing. And then stuff like this ends up looking like, when you add like the cartilage and stuff like that, ends up looking more like a wolf or whatever. You add your eyes, where you're supposed to add your eyes, your brows, muscles, you have your whatever ears you choose to give it. But the concept in itself adheres to the same basic premises. To have a basic skeletal structure in mind, even if it's a human one, right, can help you understand what you're drawing when you get to draw them on animals. You'll pay more attention to the different elements in there if you pay attention to how your actual human anatomy works. Right? So you're going to see a lot of similarities between them. So understanding one is going to make the other one a lot easier to understand. So by learning human anatomy, aka the skull, the rib cage is another one that's very easy to apply to animals, and the hip bones for a human would look something like this. Right? Say I wanted to have like a little cheeky. So the very basic essence of my body is essentially broken down to these elements. Right? We have our neck, our shoulders that connect at the collarbone, and we have our arms that bend in a front way position. Okay, we do the same thing with our arms in many directions. And our hands also have a lot of movement, but they are limited to certain positions. You can't move your arms beyond a certain point. So we have a lot of mobility when it comes down to our extremities. But there are limitations to how far you can bend them without them looking weird. So the same thing happens with animals, but sometimes animals have different situations. Like the collarbone will be facing more vertically or horizontally than vertically. The hip bones might be a little bit wider and also a little bit more arched, because you end up getting a higher, like a tail and stuff like that come out of here. But in the core of it, it's the same concept. You just need to understand that some animals have different like type of junctions and what those mean. So let's say a character like this, right? So we have a couple elements here. Our arms, the front arms of this animal, are going to bend in this direction, the same way that our arms would be. This would be something like a dog or a cat, I believe, and they have essentially the same components. They have the forearm, the bicep, shoulder, forearm, and then they have the wrist, right? If you had human hands, they would just make the hands a little bit wider and bigger. Right? But it's not, so it's going to have little nubby ones for whatever type of animal that you end up drawing. So they look like this. Right? So you end up with this, which is essentially the exact same thing as a hand from a human. It's the shoulder, shoulder, bicep, bicep, forearm, and hand. So if you were drawing a human, it would be kind of like that. Right, so that's like some animals are going to be like that. Some animals are going to have even different ones, like something like this, like a horse or like, I don't know, like a velociraptor or something like that would end up having a situation where you have your thigh. I'm just going to draw a human one next to it, I guess. Thigh. Then you're going to have your, wherever your calf is, in this case, a human would have it going down this way. Some animals have it going back up this way. And then this is your toes. Like, it's weird. Like, they have like a super long toe section. So whatever you would consider your toes to be right here, it's these, or the palm of your foot. And then you have your little nubbies that end up being your toes in case of a human. Right? So it's just differently proportioned, but they have the same elements. So it's something that you have to keep in mind whenever you're drawing an animal. Like sometimes they're gonna have like things like elephants and stuff like that, right? Or if you're trying to draw something like, I don't know, like a hoof. It's going to, you just have to pay attention to how your animal's body part moves. And eventually you'll acquire enough mental memory aspects of it that you'll be able to just combine the ones that are similar to each other and make them look nice. So that is my approach to animal anatomy, really. And then like the other thing, like ears and stuff like that. Ears are actually really easy. Like it's actually incredibly easy to draw ears. Like what I want you guys to do is learn how to draw a circle inside of a circle. Cool? Once you understand that, you're going to expand the circle outside of your circle, going back into your circle, and now you have an ear. Ta-da! That was that easy. And then you just do the same thing for the other one. Take a circle inside of the circle, expand it out, and now you have another ear that's matching perfectly. And the opposite side. You can do something like that, I guess, and draw your ears going around. You can draw your ears by drawing a shape and drawing vertical lines instead. You have an element go in the front and the back for something like a bunny. Right. But ears are easy. Like, as long as you understand the concept of drawing through your shape, ears will become incredibly simple, even if they're going side to side. Right? Just draw through your shape and find your other ear. So if we find this ear, and find another one by just drawing through your shape. Sorry about that. Didn't notice I was out of frame. Things that are a little bit more complex, like dog ears, you can just go around your shape and then trace it back to an origin point. Find an origin point, trace it around your shape, and go back to your origin point. And you're going to always have proper things. Drawing through your shape helps you map out things like your mask a little bit easier, right? It allows you to understand how necks work a lot easier. Like, you won't have an issue drawing things like this. Right? Because you'll be drawing through your shape. So when you understand that concept of drawing through your shape, then you're not really bound by like anything that's restricting you knowing where things are. At this point, I can just find one element, go around my shape, find my other element, and then start building my body based on the knowledge of where I know the body connects. Right? The reason that a lot of people have a hard time drawing elements like looking up or looking down or like even more like 3/4 views is because they don't practice their basic shapes enough. Right? They assume that they understand the concept of perspective, but a lot of the times people don't. Like, people can't even draw a really straight circle. And I help people understand that, right? Like, people reach out to me to be able to actually get that knowledge. And whenever I can help them, like I see such a massive improvement. Like, I see gigantic leaps and bounds of improvement from people that like draw with style first, and then they learn the basics, like just the very basics of finding a shape, like looking through the shape, right? And that is just a circle and a circle. That's it. Like, that is the basic part of all art, like especially character design. If you understand this, you have the ability to do excuse the language, but a shit ton of crap, right? Like this, just knowing how to do this gives you access to the sides of the head, right? So now you know where the other backside and the front side are, right? So if you do that like that, you should be able to do that front and back. So now I have that, boom, 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 boom. Now I have more dimensions and more things to play with, right? And the more that you get better at mapping out your systems and adding complex elements to them, you will start to understand that drawing through your body is the only real consistent way to understand and be more precise with your drawing, right? This is the next step. If you don't see things like this and you want to improve, start trying to visualize things in a three-dimensional space. That should be your goal, because that is a gigantic leap that is amazing to get. Like, whenever you get a chance to actually get to this point of like creation, like, you're essentially just bound by whatever you can imagine. Like, you can turn a beanbag into absolutely anything. And I'm making a book geared to just teaching people how to take a beanbag and just create things like bodies, how to create things that are properly anatomically correct from a beanbag, you know, and then just teaching people how to translate that into their drawings. And how everything is a beanbag, even an arm is a beanbag, right? A leg is a beanbag. It's just a different beanbag. Even things like fingers are beanbags. So as long as you understand the concept of drawing through your shape, and you slowly transition that into a more double circle setup, like just learn how to do it twice and then start combining them. Once you learn that, everything becomes so much easier. Like, that is literally the cheat code to character design. Like if you don't feel confident with your perspective, you don't feel confident about your character posing, learn how to do that, and you're just going to unlock like a huge level of skill. And I hope that you guys tag me whenever you guys get that click. Like I honestly, I hope that you guys take the time to like reach out to me and tell me like, oh my god, yes, because I hear that every day from someone. Every day there's a nice message on my YouTube or Instagram or something where they're like, oh my god, it clicked. And you know, that makes me so happy. Like it just makes me so stupidly joyous that I'm like, that's the reason that I do this stuff, you know? Like I do this to help you guys. And every time that I like see like a positive thing, like you guys actually getting these concepts and understanding them, whew, it just blows my mind, makes me so happy, and it just makes me want to do it even more. So yeah, like if you guys can unlock that little secret, that is literally the trick. That's the trick to so many things. So while I take a little breather because my hand is a little bit sore and I need something to drink, I want you guys to think of another couple topics, and I want you guys to get the chat to say the same thing. So if you guys see hands, but you guys want to do hands, do hands. If you guys, I want you guys for this split moment in which I'm taking a drink, I want you guys to spam what you guys want to learn next, and we will move on to the next topic. Also, please like and share the stream because that's very important. I want to get to 200,000 followers. I would love to know where we are at. If we have passed the 188K, that'd be amazing. Let me know, please. If someone can please just let me know how many followers I have right now, that's fantastic. You love this. Woohoo! No, I love it too. That's why I like it. Ooh, hairstyles, huh? Is that one? 188.5. Woohoo! We have gone up 100. No, we've gone up 500 followers so far. So we have gone up plus 500 followers. Yes! That's awesome! So, cool. We are going well on route to get to 200,000 at some point today, even if it takes all day or until I collapse, one of the two. How are you? I'm doing great. I'm doing good today. I got to talk to Vicky today. Oh, it was really nice getting to talk to her today. I haven't gotten to talk to her in a while. Man, that girl has like my heart by the heartstrings, and like that woman is just like, and I hope she is doing well today. She's probably sleeping. Anyways. Have problems with proportions of hands. Okay, so proportions of the hand. So we talked about hands, so I'll do that while we reach a consensus of what to learn. So if you guys keep on telling me what you guys want on the chat, once I get a consensus of what you guys want between all of you guys, then I will continue on to that topic. So you guys are gonna have to work things out because it's only one person on my end, and there's like 200 of you guys. So I'm pretty sure you guys can figure it out. All right, so hands. If you're having issues with hands, think of these proportions. So when you have your hand, right, don't draw a nice basic shape, but for this case, I just kept it nice and simple. Your basic hand is going to consist of 3 elements. It's going to consist of your knuckles, it's going to consist of your thumb, and it's going to consist of your fingers. And they're going to be broken down as such. The length of each one is as like the thumb, the knuckle is going to dictate how wide your hand or how thick your hand is and how wide your fingers are. So you can have your knuckles be really, really thin, right? And have a hand that's nice and dexterous. Or you can have a hand that has ridiculously large, wide fingers. So that's proportion number 1, right? Your knuckle is going to dictate the width of your actual fingers. Makes sense, though, right? So that is proportion number one. Knuckle equals width of finger. Great. Now the next measurement that you got to think is how wide, how long are your fingers going to be? Your fingers are going to be split into two parts, and it goes as so. It actually has three parts, but it makes sense when you guys just hear me out. The distance between the first section of your finger to this section right here, and I have a feeling I'm going to do this quite a bit of times today. So the distance between here and here is the exact same. But you got to take the measurement from the base of your knuckle. The base of your knuckle to the first segment of your finger is going to be the same as the same part of the top two together. So if you think about it like that, it's easy because you just have to split it into two. Okay? You can split this part into two if you want, depending on how much mobility you want from that section. Most people don't really have much mobility because until they start getting to the bent part, right? Most people, when they have their hand open, this part doesn't really bend too much. So I don't really like to consider it as two sections. I'd rather draw it as like a little beanbag shape, just to add for that accountability of that like roundness, right? But I'd rather keep it into two sections instead of three because it's just easier. And then when it goes down to like me bending my fingers, I have one section and then the other two have to tuck in, and they're gonna just be underneath. It just makes sense to me, and that's how I like to draw hands. Sí, hablo español también. ¿Quieres saber cómo manejar y cómo dibujar manos? Vamos a hacer una mano haciendo una figura de un círculo, un óvalo. Y en vez del óvalo lo vas a conectar a otros óvalos, uno para tu dedo índice, uno para tu dedo del medio, uno para tu dedo de anillo y uno para tu dedo pequeño. Esto va a formar la forma de tu mano. La forma de tu mano va a ser variada y va a cambiar en todas las situaciones. And yeah, I talk Spanish and English perfectly well. Like the only reason that I don't have a Mexican, like a Spanish channel is because I don't have time. Like if I had assistants, if I had like a team, I would be like the next Bob Ross. Like I swear to God. But I don't. It's just me, little me, in my little apartment. And super happy about it, by the way. But yeah, I speak Spanish. Your jaw dropped at the man of many talents. You know, I have talents in, yeah, I'm actually quite, yeah, I'm just going to take that compliment and blush a little bit. How about that? See, okay, teach at my school, please. You know, I would honestly move across the country or even to another country if I got a job teaching at a college level. Like, it's not even a question. Like, I would absolutely like drop everything to be able to fulfill that dream. Like, I've been wanting to teach forever. Like, ever since that I was in college, I was teaching people and tutoring people, even though I didn't really know the topics myself. Whenever I found something new that I understood, I would be like, ooh, cool, now I get to show it to people. Woohoo! And without really understanding, I just really was teaching. I just love teaching, right? I love teaching more so than doing the artwork itself. So it was like, you know, it was only natural that eventually I would actually catch up to my understanding of that and then, you know, want to do it professionally. I started a YouTube channel about 7 years ago. So if you guys are wondering where all these videos end up, you guys can probably go to my YouTube channel and find them. But I started about 7 years ago. It took a lot of time and downfalls because I had like a big imposter syndrome like issues. You know, like I honestly felt like I was letting people down, like by giving you guys bad advice and stuff like that. So I quit. Like I straight up quit doing it. Like I felt so guilty. Like oh man, I felt like I was ruining people's like careers. Like oh my God, what if they took my advice and they didn't make it? Because at that point I was going through some really shitty like parts of my life, and I was not feeling like I was fulfilling any sort of measure that I was trying to impart. So that was like a huge, huge reason why I stopped posting on YouTube for a very long time. Plus, the girl, like the lady or beautiful girl that I was with at the point, like she straight up told me to quit. Like she was like, "Oh, you're not ever gonna make any money with this. You're never gonna make any money. You won't be able to pay for my lifestyle," and that affected me a lot. Like that hurt me a lot, and then that affected my self-esteem and like my drive, and it took years for me to get it back. So I'm happy that I did, but that's just the struggle that goes along with like actually caring what people think about you. And that's why I'm saying like you should never ever 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 like talk bad about yourself, because I went through that. Like I put myself down for years, right? I put myself down for a long time, and it made me really really like almost hate art to the point, because I felt like a complete loser, and I don't want anybody else to feel like that. So as long as you guys have me here, I'm gonna keep reminding you guys about positive thinking and like actually like having a good mentality, because that's a huge component in it, right? You guys need to be your own best friends in order to be able to succeed in this. Well, in my school, Santa Teresa will wait for you with our arms open. Oh my God, like send me an offer. Send me an offer. Honestly, send me an offer and help me relocate. And that's all I ask. Okay. All right. What's our next theme? What are we talking about? It's in Costa Rica. Hey, I don't care if it's Costa Rica. Honestly, like I don't care. Like I would not care. Like you're telling me that people in Costa Rica don't have the ability to like, like learn or like be amazing or be inspired. Like, like it doesn't matter where it is in the world. Like honestly, if I am able to accommodate the fact of fulfilling my dream, like that is see that's another thing. That's one thing that I would love to talk about, that I'm actually quite passionate about. So I'm going to talk about it anyways, even if you guys don't want to. Um, One thing that is incredibly important in your career is to not limit yourself. Like don't expect to stay in your hometown. Like not ever going out around the world. Like if you're not going out and enjoying like experiencing the planet that you live on, right? If you don't go out and actually explore everything, you're going to like just not be able to see life for what it really is. And it's a journey, right? Like life is not like a just a destination. Life is not just like the final outcome. Like what are you gonna do when you become the best artist in the world? Like what is your goal? Like what are you gonna do after you get to that level that you are like desperately trying to get to? Like what is the end game? Right? The end game, like what is it? Like I had to ask myself that once. And after that one time that I asked myself that, I never had to ask myself that again. I was like, it's not about the destination. It's not always about the destination. Like you need to love the journey. Like you need to love what you're doing. You need to love the fact that you're struggling to learn something new, because you're earning that shit. Right? You're earning it. You're like taking it and you're like dominating that thing that you don't know, and you're learning it and you're mastering it. It might be slow. It might take years. It might take a lifetime, but you're going to do it. Right? And at the end of that career, you don't want to just be like, oh, I got here. Now I can actually start. No. No, 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 no. No. Like, period. No. Like, no. Start enjoying it now. Like, if you only know how to draw a circle, dude, you can do so many cool things with just knowing how to draw a circle. So many cool things. Just knowing how to draw a circle can lead you to drawing really fun art. And that's just circles, right? If you only know how to draw a single object, you can make awesome artwork. You don't, so if you learn something else that makes it cooler, like if you understand later how to draw eyelids, that just means that it's maybe you just learned another level of stuff, right? And then if you understand later on when you study how to add like little ridges and like wrinkles and like eyelashes and little teardrop shapes and little shadows and eyebrows, all that is additional to your skill level and to your amazingness, right? Being able to draw is fucking hard. That is something that not everybody tells. Like nobody tells you that. Like drawing is hard. It comes easy to some of us. It comes easier. I'm not gonna say easy. It's gonna come easier to some of us than others, right? And there's a reason that why artwork is so coveted around the world. Like everybody wants to be an artist. Like given a person's like retirement, what do? They want to go paint and drink wine. They want to go to the fields in Italy and paint and just sit there and chill. That's what people love to do. That is, if they had the choice, they would do that. And we have the ability to do so. So essentially, we are literally living the dream of so many people as we go about our lives, right? So enhance that. Go experience all the things that all these people wish that they could do and draw. And then if that's the motivation for you, if you feel like that's how you like find like some joy because other people, be like jealous of you, hey, that's a fantastic way to go about it. Now you can go and make people jealous because they want to draw and experience life, and now you get to do that as a career. Ta-da! Win-win. But if you're just a humble person and you just want to do it for your self-growth, like take it from somebody that's traveled quite a bit in the last couple of years. Okay? Traveling changed my life. Like I don't like I'm not gonna pretend like I'm like some rich like influencer or whatever. I'm not, right? I just focus all my money towards the things that are gonna bring me life experiences, right? So if I don't go out and drink, because that's not gonna change my life. But if I save up the same amount that I would spend like going out 10 weekends, I can buy a trip to Scotland and stay there for a week. And if I finesse it with people and like friends or meet like human beings that will be more than happy to have me, I will stay there for a month or two, just because why not? Right? If you are looking into being a person that travels, there's a lot of working from home situations that you can do. Or very entrepreneurial people will consider a lot of ways to just make money remotely so you guys don't have to be tied down to a stupid desk. Yes, I do not believe in working for companies. Like after the last company that I worked for, they straight up like they devastated me. Like I was working for this editorial company called Puppy Dogs and Ice Cream, and just all of like I was gearing up and I was super excited to work for them. Like I had like what was it, like 3 years with them, right? I was editing books like crazy, and I was just like having a blast. I thought that for once I had like the skills. No explanation, just like here's your severance. All right, bye. And after that, I never applied for another company again. Like I don't care if I go broke, I don't care if I'm starving. Like I just won't. Like maybe the only way that I would do it is if they were a teaching company. But I'm not going for production art anymore. I'm not going into anything with like anything like that anymore. Like as a person that's been doing that for 20 years, I had enough. Like that was the breaking point for me. And yeah, that's why I started traveling and actually like, publishing books and stuff just to see like if I could actually sustain myself. And that's why I started teaching here on TikTok more. So I started following my dream. And yes, I was making a lot less money and I had to change the lifestyle that I had, like just period. But, I'm happier. I'm not in front of a desk for 8 hours a day. I'm not like tired at the end of the day. I don't go home and thinking I can't create anymore. I can't work on my projects, my visions, because you spent all your creative energy on other people that are paying pennies on the dollar. And it could replace you any given time that you just don't show up to work. I have a problem thinking of ways of hair and mouths. So how about we talk about mouths? Mouths are really easy. So mouths, like I developed a way, like it's so dumb, it's simple, and it works so well, right? So well. So everything that I am going to teach you guys normally will involve learning how to draw a circle inside of a circle, right? If you learn how to draw that, you're going to be able to draw a lot. So if you know how to do this, you're going to go ahead and you're going to do a circle or a sphere with a circle inside of your sphere. And then you're gonna do an intersecting one. Once you get this, you have a front mouth, you have a back mouth, you have a downward mouth, you have an upward mouth. You can draw the mouth in any direction you want based on these 2 points being opposites, right? So let's take these 2 as opposites. I know that my upper lip is going to go around into the other side, and all I got to do is stylize the inside of the mouth any way that I feel like. It's incredibly simple to draw mouths. It's like the simplest concept. It's just connecting 2 dots together. And that applies to every single angle. Draw a sphere, draw a circle inside your sphere. Depending on how wide open you want your mouth, let's widen that mouth completely. Let's draw another one. I'm going to take this point, I'm going to connect it to this point that intersects, bringing my mouth around, and I don't have to draw the guideline that's not going to be seen. I just know that that line connects here. I'm going to do the same thing going around my shape. And then I draw my lips inside, connecting to those 2 same points. And that's how you draw mouths. Simple. That's how. Bam. Oh, you guys want a closed mouth, huh? So draw a sphere. Draw more intersecting lines that are really close together. And then just connect your points. And that connects to, obviously, your nose and stuff like that. So, you guys want to know an extra tip that's going to make it even easier now? Now that you understand this concept, right, of just going around and drawing 2 hemispheres, well, that is going to apply now. Just learning that is going to unlock a whole new level of your artwork. But now, you can relate that, and now all you need to do is draw 2 dots, any 2 dots, understand that it has a circular shape like you've been drawing, and you can create some amazing mouths just by doing that. Now you can exaggerate. Now you can have 2 dots into a circular, like a rubber band shape. As long as you connect one side to the other, you can come up with absolutely amazing mouths. There is no limitation to what you can do once you start learning where things go, right? Once you understand that it's 1 point connecting to 1 point, right, like this, that looks like a rubber band to me. That, to me, looks like a little rubber band. If I can make that look into a rubber band, I can start drawing any mouths I want and just add my negative space inside. Dot, dot, connect the dots, connect the dots, connect the dots. So you can get crazy and really fun with like a bunch of mouth shapes. But at this point, this is stylization, right? At this point, since you understand how it works, so now we understand how it works. So Mr. Clicky here is going to say, yay! Mr. Clicky approves. Once you understand how this and these intersecting ones translates to a mouth, by just going from side to side, well, guess what? Guess what? Like, I'm going to blow your damn minds right now. Like, I'm honestly going to blow your minds. But I need you guys to help me out. Hit the share button while I take a drink of water. hit that heart button as many times as you want, and I'm going to show you guys how to draw the other most important part of your face, just as easy as it was to draw a mouth. Because what does this look like? What do you guys think this is? Is this going to be a mouth, or is this going to be an eye? Oh, wait, no, I think I'm going to make it into a mouth. Oh, wait, no, it's going to be an eye. You see how, you see where I'm going with that? The same concept for drawing an eye is the same exact way that you're going to draw a mouth. So we drew the mouth connecting these 2 points. The rubber band, right? This could be an eye or a mouth, just depending on if I give it lips inside or if I give it an eye shape. So the two are exactly the same concept, right? So how do we apply this knowledge of understanding this to a very simple character shape? And then how do we apply that to like a base knowledge of a drawing of a character? So if we have a sphere for our head, we're going to draw through our shape like we had before. Draw through your shape a circle inside of a circle, right? This is your middle line for your front, your middle line for what is the back right now. We're going to approach it with a mask approach. If you guys aren't aware of the mask approach, I like to tackle the top part of the head first. I like to tackle these elements in the skull before I tackle the jaw or anything underneath. So it's going to be these elements that I draw in every single one of my character shapes. Okay? I'm looking for my nose canal, which is going to be like a little triangle at the bottom. My cheekbones and my eye sockets are going to be represented by a mask, a simple mask. The line in the mask is not the eye line. This is going to be a representation of your brow muscle. So your brow muscle is going to be this line. Now you can change this line to get different facial expressions and stuff like that, right? But that needs to be addressed when you're drawing this shape, because this is going to expand to the side of your face. So at the edge of your mask, you get your eyebrows, and at the edge of your eyebrows, you get your temple. That leads you to the back of your head. You're not bound to this initial shape. This initial shape was just to get those placements right. Everything else can be scaled, moved, rotated, added to, enhanced, whichever way you want. This is just a guideline. That initial sphere is just a guideline for the initial mapping points that give you the rest of your anatomy. Okay? And that's what keeps you from drawing the same face all the time. So this other eyebrow is going to go around, and it's going to be the other side of the face. Now, once I understand those concepts, I know that this is my cheekbone. So from my cheekbone to wherever I decide my jaw would be, like if I need I normally map out my chin by just going down this circle, and since your mouth opens when it rotates, like if your mouth is like this, right? Like that, it's closed. Bye-bye. When you open your mouth rotates along this axis, right? So if you're looking at this from the front, let's say you have like a camera pointed towards you, right? You're going to end up in a situation where you have your nose, your mouth being closed would be right there, and your mouth being open would be down there. Okay? So it just rotates back, and you end up not seeing the chin anymore, because it's behind your teeth. Remember, the camera can only see a certain amount of things. And you're drawing from your perspective, you are the camera. So this is you. Right? So keep that in mind. So let's just draw a character with a closed mouth, right? Because this is the reason that we're drawing the mask. If you guys want to learn how to map these out on the actual head, for the mouth, you go from the sides of your nose passage. You're going to draw a little teardrop shape. And that's going to be your chin and all the little hemispheres you need to be able to draw your intersecting lines. And now, knowing that all you got to do is touch one side of this to the other side of this in a rubber band shape, it becomes quite easy to start drawing more complex shapes. Right? From there, this connects to your jaw, connects to your chin, connects that. Right? You already have all those mapping points in place. So here, your eye, the way your eye fits, is your eye is going to be really close to your eyebrows. It actually sits, your eyes sit on the top side of your eye socket. So you have your eye socket, let's try it again, right? You're going to have your eye be on the upper part of your eye socket. The lower part of your eye socket tends to be the muscle for your cheekbone. So it tends to like pump up, especially when you're smiling really big. It like pumps up and it like pushes into your eyes and stuff like that. You know, so that is what happens when you open up and you have your cheekbone. But your eye tends to sit at the upper part of your eye socket, very close to your eyebrows. And then the only difference in space is because of your eyelid. Your eyelid is what provides most of that distance. So regardless of it being something cartoony like that or something a little bit more realistic, normally your eyeball sits really close to your eyebrows. And your eyelids are the hemispheres that go around and create the styling that you want for your character. So the hemispheres that you draw are what you get to style in any way you want to make it look exactly how you want it. That being something like that, or something simpler like, I don't know, just a simple storyboard eye. Right? Doesn't have to be something complex to fit within that scheme. You literally can do that with a super simple character or a super complex character. It doesn't matter. It's going to give you the same result. And that's how you also come up with the other eyes that you're supposed to draw. By the way, blocked by your nose for now. So essentially that is the concept of drawing a circle inside a circle teaches you so much. So just know that with just knowing if you can draw a circle, you can draw a circle inside a circle twice, connect two lines, and now you have a perfect eye. Like, practice it at home. It's pretty cool. If extra points if you overlap the top line a little bit. So also with mouths, if you have 2 points, you take them, connect them like a rubber band, and then overlap them a little bit from the top, and then make sure that your upper lip is always on top of your lower lip. Now you can draw all the cute, sexy pinup like lips that you've always wanted to draw. Oh, you want super pouty, voluptuous lips? Okay, let's give you some pouty, voluptuous lips, my friend. Ta-da! Oh, you want them even poutier? Cool, let's do pouty. Remember, we're drawing the outside of our shape first, right? The outside, not the inside. We don't draw the lips on top. We draw the lips inside. Like, we're not going with our shape and then adding them on top. No, don't do that. Don't do that, ever. Because that's, when you're drawing this circle, let me tell you what you're actually drawing, right? When you're drawing the first initial circles, what you're drawing is that part of your lip that curves around your mouth, that connects to your nose. That is what you're drawing. This connection, this curvature that you have right here, is that curvature that you're drawing. That normally goes from the edge of your nose to the edge of your mouth. And then it goes down to your chin, right? So, but that's what you're drawing. So the moment that you do this and then you add something on top, it just throws off the anatomy because that's not how your mouth works. Essentially what you're doing is you're drawing this when you do that. Like you have your thing and then you have like a lip going up for some reason. When a lip doesn't do that. A lip goes like that. Right? That ledge means something. Now, sometimes you get that little divot in the middle, but you can draw that after. Right? So that is essentially how you should draw mouths. Like, that's simple as two dots connected to each other in any way. It doesn't have to be curved either. It can be like any way you want. Right? Overlap the top line a little bit. And then draw lips or just teeth inside. So if you're just drawing teeth, you can just draw teeth in negative space. And now you have super cool mouth. If you want lips, just draw your lips connected to those inside parts, overlapping the top lip over the bottom. And then you have lips. Like it's such a simple concept. Like you can come up with hundreds, if not thousands, of facial expressions in seconds. Well, not in seconds. I would take like the Flash type of like level of like being able to draw and stuff, but you get what I mean. Like it's just a very simple way of like mapping out different mouth shapes. And it's just super easy. Like I don't understand why it's always so complicated for people to explain this stuff. Like literally just a circle inside of a circle teaches you this. I can teach a person how to draw lips, eyes, a head, and probably the jaw within an hour by just telling them how to draw a circle inside of a circle. Like if I can teach you how to do this and visualize this, you can draw this. 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 You can pretty much draw everything that I draw in my books. Absolutely everything, from comic books to, I don't know, whatever, just real animals and like zoos and stuff like that. Like all this is a circle inside of a circle repeated in different ways, right? A circle inside of a circle, inside of a circle. All these are literally just the same concept over and over and over and over and over, with the same concepts of anatomy that we talked about. Right? The same concepts of anatomy that we just talked about apply to every single character that I draw. So understanding the basics leads you to this. Understanding the basics is what gets you to this level. Like, I'm not claiming to be a majestic illustrator or like the best Dalai Lama of art, but my drawings have depth. If you have not noticed, I don't even have shadows to my work for the most part. There's no lighting. There's absolutely no lighting to my work. All my depth comes from just line work and volumes and the little tiny little measurements that come into play whenever you're drawing something anatomical or with texture, right? And that has depth. Everything has depth, from the posing to the like contrast that I like to use. So this is a very powerful tool that can help you achieve a level of understanding that will allow you then later to be able to expand into stylizing, right? Being able to take what you're learning from doing these things can take you to drawing your comic book characters. Let me angle this a little. right? You know, things like Batman, things like, I don't know, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like watching a movie and just like sketching along with it. Like you will be like amazed at how easy it is to copy styles, right? It'll be like so incredibly easy and amazing for you to just be able to see something and be like, oh, cool, that's a circle within a circle angled this way. Awesome. Ooh, this is a circle within a circle with this way. Awesome. And it's just like really, really cool. And that applies to absolutely everything. Let me show you guys even like things that I did like 10 years ago, right? Like these are drawings from my sketchbook, Coffee Break Doodles, where that's just literally like my journal of my life. Right? This is the reason that I got into art. I got into art so that I could journal my life while I was doing it. At the moment, I was dating this beautiful girl called Marianne, and we had a lot of adventures together. I also worked a lot of 9 to 5 jobs when I was doing this, right? So a lot of like little sticky notes that you see are just my daily, just life events. Most of these drawings were worked on for 15 minutes at a time, and all the knowledge that I received from like doing production work and stuff like that was meant for you guys to be able to understand. Pinups have always been one of my absolute favorite things to draw. Like pinup girls are just my favorite thing. I gotta get this as a big, big piece of art. Um, but yeah, like pinup girls are an amazingly fun thing to draw, and it took me forever to learn how to draw them properly, right? So I impart all that knowledge too, like all that knowledge. I have a book of like how many? Like I have like it's like 100 pages of pinups. I have it as an ebook now. It should be live as a actual like book. Um, Probably Friday. But yeah, like I've been doing pinup work for a long time. I just haven't done it for publishing companies. I've just done it for myself. But I think I'm at the level where I'm like actually quite good. And then I have Zooks. Oh, Zooks. Oh, Zooks involves my OG character, Archie Panda. Archie Panda is my dude. I came up with him. He went through so many stages of development, and I come up with like an entire comic for him. Yeah, I'll share you guys with this one. So I've always loved like the style of comics like Calvin and Hobbes and Zits and stuff like that, and I always wanted to be like one of those people that had like the awesomeness to be able to do this. So I came up with Zooks, and that was my idea of going about doing things like that. And it was going to be based on my little character Archie's imagination, and me just living my life doing things like playing Pokemon with my girlfriend at the time, or drawing her for like a New Year's thing. But yeah, that's my book. If you guys are interested, it's in the bio. You guys can order it printed on Amazon, or you guys can get it as an ebook. All right, so what's our next lesson? What should we do? I rested my hand enough. Yeah, he would make a cute plushie. Like I'm just horrible at following. I had the ability to make toys. Like I had the contact, but I think I ruined that opportunity because I was really sad and I was depressed for a while and I couldn't follow through like with some marketing stuff. So there were plushies supposed to be made, but like my depression got me at that point. So hopefully another opportunity pops up at some point. How to draw the body. Well, we've already talked a little bit about that, but I guess we can continue down the body if you guys want. So if you guys are going to go down that route, please hit that share button. If you guys are learning anything from me, please consider helping me out by clicking the share button. The share, the likes, all those make other people come onto the stream and be reached. So I would also love for you guys to tell me how many followers we have so far. We are on the road to 200,000. So our goal for today is to get to 200,000 followers. Or at least close to it, I guess. So if you guys can let me know how many I have right now, that'd be amazing so I can write it down. All right, we made another 1,000. No, we gained another 500. So now we are at 189,000 followers. We got plus 500 in this last lesson. Fantastic. Let's get so many people here. Click that like button. Like, oh my God, please. Just, ah. Okay, so what was it? We're going down. How to draw both eyes is hard? No, it's not. No, it's not. Let me show you. You draw your circle inside your circle, right? Cool. Then we're going to draw our little triangle for our nose. We're going to draw our mask, going to the edge of our face and to the edge of this. So far we have our little mask inside of our circle. We're going to draw our eyeballs. Both are our eyeballs. Then at this point, we're going to draw our nose bridge. Our nose bridge is going to be the width of our nose, thinning out onto our eyebrows, which we already mapped by having our mask. So you have a little bit of the eye blocked, right? But that's not going to stop us from drawing it. So we're going to decide on 2 points, and they're going to match on both sides. And we're going to go around our shape, and we're going to catch it on the other side. This is just drawing a circle inside of a circle, remember? Then we're going to do the same thing for the bottom lid. And then we're going to close our eye inside. The top line is going to be our eyelid. Whatever style we decide to give our eyelashes, we can decide to give it at this point. We have our bottom eyelid already, which tends to be a little bit thinner than the other one. And then you can draw whichever type of eye you want. Your nose will block a little bit of your eye sometimes, so you have to get used to drawing through your shape. Right? So let's go with a more extreme view of this. If we're going to go into like a 3/4, but a heavier 3/4 view, our circle inside of our circle to come up with our middle line. Then we're going to draw our little triangle for our nose right in our middle line. We're going to draw our mask going to where I would consider the edge of my face, connecting to the bottom part of my nose. I'm going to draw my eye, and then I'm going to draw my other eye on that side. Remember, as you rotate in space, they're going to overlap, right? All the way until you get to like a profile view. They're going to overlap, but you have to take into consideration that this overlap is also going to be blocked by your nose bridge. Your nose bridge is going to have a breaking point right where your eyes are. So wherever your eye is, normally your nose bridge starts from there, and it goes onto your eyebrow. Okay, so that little divot that you get has to be masked here. From the top of our little triangle that we drew for our nose to the middle of our eyes, that goes up until our eye. And that is how much you block for that eye. You draw your eyelids going from one side to the other. Stylize them any way you want. This is the upper eyelid. You can give it lower eyelids too if you want, because it's already there. And that little same divot that you get here, you got to draw it on the edge as well to give yourself that little curvature for your cheek. So that's how you end up seeing eyes, a little bit more 3/4, and that's how you draw them. Does that make any sense? If it makes sense, click that like button so I know. That will be like, okay, every time that you guys get something or something clicks or something makes sense, just let me know, because I don't get to see the chat as much as you guys think. Like, I'm constantly just looking at the page drawing. So if I see the little hearts glow, I'm like, oh, yes, I'm doing something right. My mom did not waste. Oh, actually, yeah. I'm a success. The mouth, again, from the edge of our nose or at the edge of the triangle. So once we get to this point, right? Once we get to this point where you have all your mapping points, if you want to draw the bottom part of the face, go from the edge of, from the tip, like literally just take this same shape that you drew and then draw a little teardrop. It's going to have depth, right? So you're going to trace shape to it. Boom, boom, boom. You're going to draw your chin. And then you're going to draw your mouth by doing the same thing you did with the eyes. Connect 2 dots on the sides, connect them with the hemisphere. 2 dots on the sides, connect them with the hemisphere. 2 dots on the side, connect them with its hemispheres. Create negative space for the mouth, add eyes for the eyes. The nose will be in this little pocket right here, and you can draw any shape that essentially goes back into that shape, right? So let me explain that because it makes like a lot of sense when I explain it like this. So your nose passage that you have, right, the little nose canal, is like a magic doorway that's pushing out a balloon that goes and squeezes out of there and then comes back into it. I know that sounds really weird, but if you think about your nose coming out of your nose canal like that, it's kind of like how the way the cartilage works, because the cartilage connects to the top, goes around your shape, and it connects to the middle of the triangle in the bottom. And then you have your little wings and the depth and the width of the actual nose, depending on the other factors of cartilage. But the actual concept of the nose is easy to understand if you understand that it just connects from the top and the bottom. And anything you add on the side is just to add volume to that shape. The reason that we just put that little triangle there, though, is so you understand that even if you have a big nose, let's say we have a super big nose, right? You understand that this shape is big, but it's coming back to this area. Your mouth and all those other elements are still there. Right? Your mouth, your chin, all that stuff that's behind it now, because it's big, are still there. They haven't disappeared or magically moved down or up. They're still there. But having that measure point allows you to layer your elements so that they make sense, so that it makes it a little bit easier to understand when you have to draw something or when you don't have to draw something. And the concept of overlapping shapes like this is like crucial. So, does that explain that? How do you keep the integrity of your character throughout the many poses? Well, the reason that a lot of people can't keep a character consistent is because they have a hard time even drawing the same thing twice. Right? Like a lot of people have to rely on a grid and stuff like that at first to be able to get consistency in the characters. I honestly believe that that makes the characters very stiff. So I just don't like doing that. Like I just like giving them like with certain mapping points. Like if I know that my mask is gonna be really small, I draw my mask really small, and I match that. If I can match this little shape, then everything else should fall into place relatively the same. Detail-wise, it's easier to draw something into this little area than to draw something into a huge open canvas. So if I can match that, cool. Then I can go into my nose. Let's draw that nose. That's easy. Let's go a mustache. Following my lines, just drawing 1, 2. And little by little, like it's gonna take muscle memory and it's gonna take practice, but you can easily learn how to draw your characters in all sorts of views by just mapping them out into smaller portions and then taking on those little portions at a time. Maybe at first your ears won't be the same, right? They won't be as consistent. But as long as you focus on getting all the other elements right, it's going to end up looking a lot better. And then once you manage to make it like a natural thing to be able to draw from this view and everything else fits well except for the ears, then you can focus your focusing on the ears. And then you can improve on the ears. And then once you get the ears better, you can move on to the neck and the bodies and more complex shapes. And as you get better, you always move up, right? Like that's essentially it. Like how many of you guys have gotten into a drawing, like started adding so much detail, right? And then you don't know where to go next. Like you're like stuck. Like, oh God, like what am I supposed to draw next? Like I don't know how to take it to the next level of realism. Like how many of you guys have had that? Come on, like be real here. I'm not seeing nearly enough hearts. Like, come on, fess up. How many people have started adding infinite amounts of detail and then just been like, I don't know what else to add. I don't know what else to do. You guys know why, right? Well, most of the reason why is because your eye might not be trained enough to be able to see the next level of detail. A person that can only draw an eye like this, right? If a person's just barely starting and they can only draw an eye like that, being able to understand the complexities that lead to me drawing this eye in like a fraction of the time that it would take them to draw this is gonna blow their goddamn mind, right? But the only reason that they can't do it is not, maybe they just don't have the knowledge about visualizing that another person has. Maybe they don't have the actual time studying how different factors like eyelids and eyes work, right? Studying anatomy is going to be a constant thing that you're going to be doing throughout the entirety of your career as an artist. And especially if you're going to be doing characters or anything with any sort of characters and storytelling or posing. It's going to be a very important factor that you're going to have to master. And that's going to come with a lot of time practicing how to stylize them properly. But if you go into stylizing before you understand how to draw the actual object, you're going to end up in situations where you don't really understand how to draw them from different views. Right? You're not going to know how to draw something going in a different direction if you don't understand how to move a shape in space. So the people that jump into more complex drawings right away, like you're going from step 1 to step 10 because you want to create something pretty, right? Instead of, if you are doing this as a hobby, yeah, that's great. Like, learn a bunch of cool styles and just have fun exploring. But if you're doing this as a career, and that's the people that I like to reach out more to, the people that are actually doing this as a career, like you can't do that. You need to understand what you're drawing so that you can break it down and stylize it any way you want. Like that's the only real true way to move forward with just an infinite amount of potential, right? Because the moment that you understand a basic concept from your foundations, just understanding that gives you so much. It gives you your jaws, it gives you your bodies, it gives you your placement for your arms, clavicles, like collarbones, like everything. Like it honestly, like just learning how to draw through your shape and visualizing that properly is such a game changer. Like if you don't see things like that, there's exercises you guys can do, but they're going to take time to do. There's going to take quite a bit of time. Okay? It's going to take time out of your life. It's going to take time out of your going out of your video games. It's going to take time out of a lot of your extracurricular activities. Like being able to draw the way that I draw, and I'm not a naturally gifted person, so maybe it takes me less time than me. I hope that it does. But it took me years of constant paying attention, teaching myself, and even so much explaining myself to people so that I would catch myself whenever I didn't understand the topic. Right? If I don't understand the topic and I can't explain it, then I understand that I need to work on that one. So be honest with yourself if you want to grow. Right? If you guys want to know where you're at, I do have assessment tests and stuff like that you guys can take. They are on my YouTube channel.
Just go find them. I just posted them maybe like a week ago. Okay. There's an assessment test that you can take to see what level of artist you are between level 1 and level 6. Because at level 7, you're really essentially already an artist. You're already established. So that's just like another level. But from 1 to 6, it literally tells you if you're an amateur or a more like professionally geared person. So I would recommend you guys go check that video out if you guys are like curious about where you are and if you actually think that you have the skills that you need to progress. All right. So once again, let me tell you guys about my lovely little sponsor that sent me this beautiful little watercolor kit for free, as long as I showed it off on stream. So I'm gonna show it off because it is actually a really nice one. So yeah, I don't normally advocate for any sort of product. I just don't. But you know, seeing as I also have to learn to be able to take my stuff to the next level, I'm also learning as long with you guys, right? So I have to learn how to be a person that wants to take this as a career. So if I want to be a teacher and I want to be a person that teaches online and stuff, I need to understand how people make money doing this. And you know, that includes selling books, that includes selling products, and you know, but I don't want to just sell you guys products. I don't want to just give you guys like random crap to buy. So I asked them for a kit, and it's actually quite nice. So if you guys have extra money and you guys want to have some get kicked back to me, that's a fantastic choice for you guys. But you know, like I said, I never like try to pitch anything to anybody. I feel dirty every time I do that. So what should we learn next? Can you do shoes? Oh wait, like how do you connect your body to the waist? Oh, that's okay. So how do you connect your rib cage to your hip bones? Okay, so we'll talk about that in a second. I want you guys. I'm gonna take a small break and grab a little bit more water because my protein powder shake went down. So I'm going to leave you guys with this knowledge. Okay, you're going to essentially be able to draw any hip and any rib cage in the shape of a beanbag. And depending on how you distribute those beanbag shapes, that's going to give you your different body styles. So keep that in mind. Practice this shape for a split second if you guys are drawing with a lot. And I want you guys to just try to come up with more themes so we can talk more about stuff. So try this. Beanbag at the crevice, bring in to bring your rib cage, and over here you slice your hip bone out of your bottom part. So practice this for a second. I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. And I can leave you guys with like the World Tournament of Poker. So I've been watching this for like a while. I love it. Hey, there you go. My mouse died. I think my mouse died. Never mind. You know what? Screw it. I have a drink of beer. It's 4th of July! America! Okay, so what? Wrinkles on clothes. Is that the next thing? Foreshortening! Okay. Seeing as the video that I got, a super stupidly simple video that I made, like went viral and it got like 800,000 views, right? Hold on, let me close the door. So one of the videos that I did recently got like 800,000 views. Right, you guys can go check it out. It's like a really simple like foreshortening video. A lot of you guys probably saw it, and that's why you guys are following me or not. But it was really silly because it was people just didn't understand what I was trying to explain. Like they saw people like kept on seeing a lot of like the psychology test. Like you can tell what type of person they were by like the answer that they were giving. Like they were like, "Oh, it looks like balls." I'm like, "My good sir, I wonder what's on your mind." "Oh, it looks like boobs." I'm like, "Oh, hey, that looks like that to me too." It was just really silly, and it just picked up momentum, and it got like 800,000 views. Like it's the second video with the most views that I've had. One of them was Sexy Doma. The process video for Sexy Doma got like 2.1 million views. So that one was really fun. Um, and it's on there on the channel, so you guys feel free to check it out if you guys want. But love your work, man. Thank you. Oh, we were going to talk about the rib cage, huh? Okay, so when you have your rib cage split into two sections, or your body in general split into your two hard surfaces, yes, your rib cage and your hip bone are two only hard surfaces in your torso. So you gotta just remember that most of your body's deformations, including your bumps and crevices and creases and muscle tensions and fibers of your bones. And let me close the window. So all those things that you're drawing are being affected by your bones. Your bones and your muscles are tend to be things that make you look lumpy and make you look bumpy and make you look weird. Like an actual person, like most of the things that pop out of our body can be explained by our actual bone structure. And let me explain to you guys what a basic bone structure would look like and why some bumps happen in certain areas. So we have an actual normal face. Like I said before, I only like drawing up until my nose canal because that makes it easy because I only have to split the head in two. Cool. So I like to draw up until there. So most of the hard surfaces are going to be, in this case, the rib cage and the hip bones. The rib cage is going to consist of your collarbone. It's going to consist of this element going into your shoulders, like the tip of your shoulder. So this part right here is where your shoulders pivot from, right? So your pivot point for your arm is there. That is where your arm connects and how it moves. It's not from the middle. It's not from a ball. It's from this little point in your body. That is what I found to be the most effective way to control how my body moves, by understanding where my body parts are rotating from. That it was the game changing point for arms. I'll show you guys in a second. But yeah, I'll do arms after this because I just want to draw arms. Like I've been having so much fun watching Dragon Ball Z and drawing arms. But so we'll do arms next. All right, so let's go back to this one. Is that okay distance-wise, or you guys want me to zoom in more? Let me know if you guys want me to zoom in more. I know a lot of people like to see the rest of the drawings, so I'm like always hesitant to go in more. But if you guys are more interested in actually to do that, please let me know. Is it good? I need consistency, please. If you guys can please give me feedback, that'd be amazing. Like anytime that you guys comment or like let me know anything, I normally try my hardest to pay attention to what you guys are doing. I like seeing the other drawings. Okay, cool. So we'll just leave it like that. All right. So the first point that is very important to, like, in my opinion, especially for the upper body, is the collarbone. Right? The collarbone gives you the two edges of the collarbone, gives you where your arms are supposed to rotate. You can mark your arm width is going to be mapped from this point. You can't have more width on top of this, really. Like maybe your shoulder has like a little bit more on top. Maybe if this is like a gigantic damn human, like a person would have to be like the Hulk, right? Like have like their collarbone, and then like their upper shoulder like just that little upper shoulder would I maybe be big on them, like rah. But an average human being is never gonna have this bulging shoulder like part right there. Like they just don't. Even like big muscly dudes won't have much musculature on top of this. That's why I love that mapping point because it's right at the edge and it allows you to rotate this, creating those little overlaps with your neck as you rotate up, right? So the interaction between pivoting from here is very crucial to me, at least. It makes just makes so much sense to do that because positions like the ones where you have to put like your arm behind your head and stuff like that just makes more sense when you literally have the pivot point there. It just makes sense. So I like doing that like that. So that's going to be here, and that's going to be where my shoulder is going to come out. I'm going to explain to you guys the muscles that go in here and how they're layered too. So there's, I think they come into it's four layers to your upper body. The first one is your shoulders. Like I said, the width of your arm is going to be just draw it into your rib cage. Like if you want your arm to be this wide, draw it like that. If you want your arm to be like super big, like just draw that circle bigger on the rib cage. And then when you draw your arm, just draw it from there. Like trust me, it just looks right. Especially when you start adding the actual muscle stretch. Like you guys will see it just when we get into arms, you guys will see that just clean because your bicep intersects right there and your chest muscles intersect right here. So you end up with all the intersections that you need for your arm. So you go shoulders, chest, bicep, chest, and then your back muscles. That is the 5 steps of your like layering. So you go shoulder, chest muscle, bicep, rib cage, back muscle. And then for women, it's the same thing. Shoulder, pectoral or chest muscles, boobs, rib cage, or no, pectorals, bicep, rib cage, back muscle. So when we get into arms, I'll explain that a little bit more and how the arm moves and how it connects and how to actually like see it a little bit easier because I know that these parts are hard, right? Like the forearm is a really complex area that people have issues with. The wrist, like you'd be surprised how much better they come out when you add an extra part to your anatomy. Like I think of the bottom part of the arm not as one shape. I don't think about it as one shape. I think about it as two shapes. I think about it as the little connector to the arm, as like little like I don't know, like wristband before it connects to the hand, right? And then I have my forearm. That is how I see my hands. I don't see the bottom part as one single element. So I see my palm of my hand leading to this little like wristband part. That's the flexy part of the hand because whenever you're moving your wrist, you have a bunch of mobility. So I like to have that as a separate, complete element. Like I can honestly consider that as a completely different element than my right arm. Like I just added an extra body part that people don't teach. So I just add that little section as my flexi part, and that's what I call it, the flexi zone. And then we go from there, it's easy to map out the forearm because the middle of that and the bottom splits it into two muscles that go around. So you get two muscles that connect to the sides. So your forearm is your bicep. Your forearm itself goes into your little flexi part for your wrist, your hand. Right? And then your forearm is going to get split in half by your bicep. going into this little line, right? That you can check that little vein out. Like go like this right now. Just check it out on your own body. This right here. I'm literally thinking of this little tiny thing right there. It goes straight up your forearm, straight up. Just feel it. It goes right into this part. So it goes from the bottom middle part of your palm. It goes up your wrist, literally mapping a point that connects to the bicep. So now that I know that, just by knowing those 2 points, I can draw this doing a lot of things. Uh, as long as I know where my bicep is, the tip of it can go anywhere I want now. Because I know that's going to be the bottom part of it, I just draw a shape going around bottom. Connect, overlap, done. Bicep. I want my forearm to go this way this now. So I know that's the bottom of my bicep connecting to the bottom of my wrist, right? So if that's the bottom of my bicep connecting to the bottom of my wrist, this is twisting. So it twists and you get your shape. It's just, it just made sense to me. So it ends up happening where, like, as long as I understand where the middle of my bicep is, I can draw pretty accurate, like, arms. And then my elbow goes behind that. So we'll explain arms in a second, though. We'll talk about more about arms in a second. Let's continue down the body and explain to you guys why your bones are sticking out and stuff. So your rib cage, your abs are going to be from the bottom of your rib cage to the bottom of where your hip bones are. So inside of your little hip bone holes, just connect that to the bottom of your rib cage, and you have your abs done. Super easy. Like that's like the stupidest, the easiest thing. You can give your character a bikini by connecting the top 2 points of your hip bones. Your legs are going to come in from here, and they're going to connect to the bottom of your kneecap. I like drawing the top of the leg as one single shape, not like the kneecap as a separate element. The kneecap is connected, to me, in my opinion, the way that the leg pivots connects the upper thigh to the actual thigh. So I like to see my muscles and my legs connect, just like we did with the nose, remember? You have your hole and you draw your nose coming in and back to that same place. You're going to do the same thing with legs. So you're going to do this. If you have your hip bones like this, you're going to draw a shape that goes from here, goes out, and comes back here at some point. And then give it your depth. And it can be anything you want. As long as you know where it connects, it can be anything. Anything. Just remember that it has a little depth. Like, as long as you understand where those connections happen and you know where to place it, what you decide to do with that knowledge is absolutely up to you. Right? It doesn't matter if it's a little elephant dude or a girl with sexy legs. As long as they have a hip bone, you can draw it coming out of that hip hole. Yeah, that sounds like a That's Always Sunny in Philadelphia line or something. You can draw anything in the hip hole as long as you know where the hip hole goes. Yeah, but the hips, it's just very important to know that, like, the leg placement, the actual, like, placement of it and where it originates and comes out is very much more important than you understanding the muscles. Like, you don't need to understand all the muscles. Like, you don't need to understand where everything, like, is magically, like, muscled up and everything, because we don't see every fiber of the muscles. Like, but as you develop more knowledge, then you develop more understanding, and then you actually add more to your base anatomy knowledge, right? we don't just develop the ability to draw something cool and think, ooh, then we should stop how to draw. We should not keep on going. We should not keep on like at it. So the bottom part of the leg is going to be kind of like a teardrop as well. But let me explain to you guys why this is hard. Like the same way that we did the forearm, really easy, right? So we're gonna do this part, like the calf, because I know this is like a super complex part for people. Like they think that this is like the end all of be all of like drawing, and it's incredibly easy. Like it's very easy. If you map it out like I'm gonna tell you, it's gonna be the easiest thing in the world for you to understand. So we're gonna have two views. We're gonna have the front, and we'll have like a 3/4. Okay. So this front leg is going to have its thigh, and I'm going to draw the bone structure over here. And then we're going to have the calf going into the foot. So what's happening here? Right? What are we drawing here that is normally so complex that people have so many complications? Well, the issue comes with the kneecap and knowing how these parts of the leg actually fold. But if you guys want to learn more, you guys gotta share that stream. You guys gotta like and subscribe if you guys are liking us YouTube. If you guys have learned anything, please consider supporting me by buying my books and doing all that stuff like signing up to my YouTube so I can get to 100,000 followers. I want that stupid plaque. I want it. I have it in my sights. Like we have 47,000 people to go. If we add 47,000 people from our streams to my YouTube, we are golden. I get that plaque. I can officially say that I'm a YouTuber and that I actually have done the difference. Like Jesus Christ, 7 years, and I finally have the chance to get it. So if you guys want to do it, please help me. Anyways, let's continue on the lesson. So the difficult part right here for people is normally the understanding of how these muscles overlap and how they interact with each other. But the way that it made sense to me was to actually start like touching my own bone structure and like seeing where it goes. So I realized that my leg goes down to my kneecap and then it goes straight down because that's bone right here, right? Oops, that's bone. And then my calf muscle just wraps around this. It just goes around and connects to the back of my thigh. Boom. And it just goes around. So you sometimes see a little bit on this side. And that's it. It's a straight line, and then you draw the shape behind it, depending on how big or buff you want to draw your character. It's literally just the shape that goes around the back. So how cool is that? So when you're drawing like a leg, if you're drawing your upper thigh, now all you got to do is find your kneecap. Understand that your pivoting point is the front of your kneecap, right? And then draw a straight line going down to your foot. Straight up a stick man. You can draw a stick man if you want. This is going to represent the bone that you have to wrap your calf around and then connect it to the back of your thigh. And that's it. And that works in every direction. So in this case, right, when you're looking up, you got to remember that the calf is digging into the back of the thigh. So you're going to get a little bit of overlap. So the back of the thigh and the calf interact like this. So you have your butt, you have your thigh. So you have your initial shape into your kneecap, and then the back of your thigh digs into the middle part of your leg. Remember the bicep into the forearm? Remember that? So that same concept of this scenario is happening right there. In the back of your leg, you have just reverse. Your thigh becomes your forearm, and this becomes your bicep. So that intersection applies to both your arms and your legs. So if you learn how to draw one of them, it's going to be really easy to learn to draw the other. Right? So we have the back of the leg, and we have, I don't know, the front of the leg. The back of the leg is going to have like little. No, let's start it differently. Hold on. No, I don't want to explain to you guys this one before I explain to you guys more examples of like the straight line. So let's see, we have the front and the back. We're going to draw a straight line into our foot. Straight line into our foot. One from the front, one from the back by showing your ankle. Now, you have your kneecap, and then you just draw a shape that connects behind your thigh, and it goes around the front of your shape. But you always just leave your bone there to make sure that it looks like it's from the front. And that's how you draw the bottom part of the leg a lot easier. So when you're drawing complex positions, just understand that you're always putting that calf muscle behind your thigh a little. When you're doing foreshortening, it's going to help you as well. Okay? You're going to get used to seeing things a little bit different once you start just visualizing things as overlapping shapes. Oh, wait, no, that'd be the other way. Like that. There you go. Thought I messed up the perspective for a second. And then we'll draw somebody here so it makes it look like a giant foot. Oh no! Okay, so if you understand that concept, then we can move on to the next part of the leg. So we have our kneecap, we have a straight line representing our ankle foot. Make that wide as according to your drawing. You know, like it's going to be subjective to every drawing. Please, if you have really wide ankles, draw a wider ankle line. Go all the way down to the bottom, and then just draw your shape behind it. Okay, so if that means a wider ankle or a lighter ankle, that is essentially the only measurement you need to worry about. Okay, like everything else is easy to map out just going around your shape. And it's as easy as you guys have been practicing of just using your cylinders and drawing around your spheres, going a circle inside of a circle equals a circle inside of a circle, inside of a circle, inside of a circle. Okay, so you start with spheres, you practice into cones, you can practice with different shapes, right? Draw shapes inside of your shapes, cut your shape into different sections, learn how to map out your basic shapes in all sorts of ways so that you guys can take that knowledge and take that and make really cool stuff and like really cool dynamic expressions. Right? Foundations. Yay! Foundations are good. Can someone tell me how many followers we have right now, please? Have we broken the 1,900 or 190,000? We're looking for 190,000. What? 188.6? Someone told me we're at 189. What? Is it exactly 189? Ah, those bastards. Ah, Okay, so we're about like 10,000, no, 11,000 down. So let's keep going. Oh, okay, okay. So we will need to teach more stuff. Okay, so the other way that you guys can approach legs is like this. So if you guys approach it with a double teardrop approach from the front and the back, you guys can do that and just account for the width of your ankle at the edge of your teardrop, and you guys can get some pretty cool looking foot as well, right? From the front or the back. And it's just like that's another simple way to approach it. You don't always have to follow that one way that people teach you. Like that is one thing that I'm very, very, very like prominent and like I'm a big advocate for is to learn from a lot of different people. Learn from as many people as you can actually possibly are able to do. Don't just think that one approach is going to essentially like gift you the ability to draw everything you want. Like literally thousands of ways to draw everything. If you limit yourself to not even like adding like even trying out a few more than the ones you know, just because what you draw is cool, well then you're gonna have a very limited growth when it comes down to your potential. So I'm gonna let you guys admire this for a slight second. I want you guys to ask some more questions so that we can continue on with our lesson. Definitely watch and learn as many as you can. Yeah. Can you do shoes? Yeah, I can do shoes. We just talked about feet, I guess. It's a good transition. America! All right, so shoes. So in order to understand shoes, we need to explain how feet kind of work. So we're going to explain a basic shape for feet. So we just talked about the legs, right? So we're going to draw a very simple thigh into our kneecap, into our line, or our bone for our ankle. That's going to lead to our foot. And I'm going to wrap my calf going around it behind my thigh. Bam. Cool. So I have my leg. And now I got to figure out how to draw the foot. So what I like to do is whenever I draw feet, they end up being very triangular in shape, being it in the front or from the side. Like I end up drawing them like triangles, regardless of the angle in which I am going. Most of the time I'm drawing shoes, so getting like an upside down ice cream cone that just got spilled, right? That is how I view my foot into my ankle. Like no joke, like I see it as ice cream cone that just got spilled. The connection point right here is the one that takes you up to the ankle, and then the spilled ice cream is my heel. Like that's honestly how I see it. Like that is how my brain views it. So whenever I'm drawing any sort of triangular shape, I just think about this and how can I make this into a half cone with an ice cream spilling, and I end up getting like decent shoes. If I need something wider, then at this point I can just make it into a box, right? Like once I have that initial shape, I can shape it or stylize it any way I want. It just makes more sense to me to draw it like that because it gives me all the crevices that I need. All the little tiny divots that come along with your foot are easier to draw when you see it like an ice cream cone. So even the front and the back, like if I was going to draw the front right here, I'd think about this as an ice cream cone. The connection point with my ankle would be the base of the cone, and then that is where my toes and all that. So yes, it does not map me exactly where my feet are. Yes, but it gives me the shape that I need to be able to just add the shape that is easier, like a box for the front, or if you need to make like a velociraptor, you can make like a foot, or you can add a talon and make an eagle, or you can make it into like just change the shape of it so that part's a little bit, the cone is a little bit wider, and then just change the shape of the ice cream of the basketball, and then now you have different things like maybe like platforms right? Heels, stuff like that. Like it's all a matter of just visualizing things in a fun way, and then just carrying that through, like, and then just experimenting with different things. Like, like I draw most of my stuff from memory, but a lot of the stuff that like comes from my memory is because I've seen it somewhere, you know. So it's just all of it is visualization, and it's super easy when you start seeing them in shapes. Ice cream in the back, and then all these things can just be made into other basic shapes to make things like shoes going around. You already have the lines for like the shoelaces and stuff too if you need it. Triangle, ice cream cone to connect the ankle, right? Heel, and then toesies. So this is just a very strong approach. Like I find it funny. I find it fun. And then like the more that I change the ice cream cone, right? I already know that the ankle connects there because that's where the ice cream cone ends. Uh, I know that my heel is going to be wherever this touches the ground. So I know it's going to be around here. I just got to decide how wide I need it. And then I can start from the feet up and work my way up through my muscles and how they connect and just see how far I can go on the opposite way, right? See how far up you can go by just connecting points differently. Like you don't always have to draw from one perspective. Like challenge yourself. Like, if you get bored, see like what you can do by just drawing a face, but don't start with the eyes. Start with a completely different part of the body. Start with the ears and see what that tells you. So if you understand where things fall with each other, you can map out everything from anything. So I know that the bottom of my ears normally connects with my nose canal. So I know that at the bottom of my ears, if I trace my shape by going in a circle around my circle, right, finding one point to another, boom, I'm going to understand that my nose canal is going to be right there. My nose is going to tell me where my nose bridge is, depending on how wide I want my nose. And then I get to draw my eyebrows. My eyebrows tell me where the side of my face is. The side of my face is going to guide me to the top of my head. And that's going to guide me to my other side. My eyebrow over here is going to tell me where the edge of my head is going to be. And when it starts going into my nose canal, that's going to give me my nose bridge. Whatever angle I give it here on this side is going to be the same angle that I give it in the inside nose canal. So whatever angle I have here has to be matched here, and it also has to be matched on this side, right? Because this is your cheekbone. So your cheekbone on this side has to match the cheekbone on this side. Then once you understand that, it's the temple, and then you have the side of your face. That to my chin is going to create the side of my face, and I get to decide what width of jaw I have and then connect that. Then we got here, the mouth is going to be divided into a circular shape, like a form of a teardrop coming from my little nose canal. And then from there, I just get to choose 2 points, connect them like rubber bands, create some decorative space, and I have a mouth. Then from there, I already have the muscles because I just mapped them out for the sides of my face. So you don't even have to worry about if you need to draw a line here or not. It's already there. You already drew it. Connect the cheek to the chin. You have finished your face. Draw your eyeball, which are spheres with hemispheres. Connect 2 dots on those sides. Connect them with going around your circle in a circle. Circle in a circle gives you these. And then upper eyelid, lower eyelid, draw your eye inside. Cool. And just like that, you start like just mapping everything. You can map everything from any point. Like if you understand the body, I could start with the mouth, the skeletal system for the mouth, and work my way up onto a pinup. Right? There's like I practice enough, and it's not like a flex or anything, but I'm telling you guys the level of like understanding that you guys can get to by just drawing something as simple as a circle and a circle. Right? Being able to do this leads me to do this, leads me to do this, this, and 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 this. So, you it's very important to understand that your foundations cannot be based on style. Like your foundational skills are what make your drawings look in the right place. Proper scaling, proper line work, proper overlaps, proper perspective, proper volume control, proper thick to thin line work, proper contrast, right? Proper color theory. All that stuff is how you control, if your things look right. Style is how you make things look pretty. So don't give yourself like a false understanding of foundations just because you can make something look pretty. If you don't understand the very concept of finding volume in a shape and being able to, like, I don't know, cut shapes out of it, or like slice them up, things like that, like simple exercises like these are all circles inside a circle exercises. Circle inside of a circle inside of a circle. Create negative space. Circle inside of a circle inside of a circle. Create a slice. Right? All these elements, like drawing a face in different directions, can be learned as simply as just taking a circle into a circle and then just drawing a little bit more lines, just so you understand where to map things out. And as you progress, if you can do this with any basic shape, with a basic little character like this, if you can just rotate them in any way, shape, or form, if you can do that, that's already step one. Then at that point, you can start adding more detail and see if you can actually understand how to map that out, right? And little by little, you're going to start adding more and more details based on what you understand. Not what you think it looks cool, but what you understand. And if you don't understand it, don't progress past that point. Figure it out, and then use that knowledge to figure out the next connection point, right? Figure out the next level after you master the first one. Don't go from step 1 to step 10. Don't do that. That's why people get stuck in not being able to draw anything except that one little style that they developed in high school, or like elementary school or whatever. Like, some people just get stuck because they skip this stuff. So they don't know how to draw things even with like a different set of eyes or a different shaped mouth or a different nose or something. And I know that probably is triggering a lot of you guys right now. And please tell me if I'm right, because I love being right. So let me know if you guys have gone through that. I know I did. I did it for 15 years. I had a full career with doing that stuff, and then I realized I didn't know shit. Yeah, I kind of like a whole cool career, but like I realized I didn't really understand what I was drawing at all. And it wasn't until I actually learned the very basics, and it actually, like, I took the time to make them make sense for myself instead of just like blindly following what other people taught. Like I was like, whoa, that doesn't make sense to me. Oh, let me go observe people and let me see where things fit. Let me go work out and see in a mirror like where my body parts fall. And then that alone just changed everything. That allowed me the chance to actually experiment and actually like see like where things fit, where the things moved from, and then we have all the references right there, guys. You just need to go into a mirror, study, draw it on yourself if you need to, like I do. Like if you need to draw on yourself so you understand how things look in perspective, do it. You already have the skills. All you gotta do is map them out in a way that makes sense to you, right? Take the initiative and practice doing these things on your own. Because this is the only real great way to learn how to draw these things. You have all the references, unless you don't have a hand, you know, you have hands. If you can go look at people's like a mirror and look at ears. With a couple cool mirrors or like cool, like nicely placed mirrors, you can draw like your back muscles. But being able to actually see your back muscles helps. So if you guys work out and get all like fit and stuff, you guys can like combine your workouts with your drawing sessions and like do like a push up and draw a hand, do a push up and draw a leg, do a push up and do like something, and then look at yourself in the mirror like, I'm all buff now. What am I drawing? And then you'll be like, I have an arm. Oh, my biceps are so big. Oh, yeah. But at the same time, as you're doing this, you can start being like, ooh, what does it look like when my shoulder's down? What does it look like when my shoulder and my forearm collide? What happens to my pectoral muscles when I flex? You see what I mean? Like, it sounds silly, but it also gives you a reason to go to the gym or go and actually move around a little. Because that's also a very like bad epidemic when it comes down with a lot of artists. Like that's why I promote people to get out of their desk for like 5-10 minutes any given day, and then just go move around. Like you need to have blood circulating. You need to have your blood like actually working for you and get some vitamin D. You know, like don't be as reclusive as you can avoid being. And that doesn't mean you have to go out and like talk to people. Like I don't like talking to people, period. So I just talk to you guys because I'm not really talking to you guys. I'm talking to like a void in space, and I'm really weird, and I like to entertain myself by drawing and explaining things to the nothingness that's in front of me at the pleasure of everybody else, though. Like, have you ever thought about that? Like, I was thinking about this with Candace, our moderator, most of the times. Um, yeah, I was like, it must be really weird to really like understand that I'm not really talking to anybody, but at the same time, I feel like I'm in front of like this gigantic classroom, but I'm just here in my desk. Like, I don't even hear another voice, right? So it's just really fun to understand that. How to draw a mermaid. Oh my God, mermaids are so easy. Here, hold on. I'm gonna blow your guys' mind when it comes down to drawing mermaids. Mermaid will forever be your next favorite thing to ever draw. So let's draw a whole page of mermaids. How about that? So mermaid bodies in general are really fun because all you gotta really do, you don't have to draw the legs, but when you draw a character like a mermaid, the same upper body and hip bone issue happens, right? So you have your hip bones and you have your rib cage. The difference is that one of them has legs and the other one doesn't. The other one has a tail. So if you want to draw really cool mermaids, all you got to do is learn how to do this, move those two shapes in space, and now you have really cool mermaids doing all these sorts of like really cool poses. See what I mean? It's a lot easier to be able to pose your characters and get them into extreme positions if you understand how the body moves. But yeah, the hip bone to rib cage. So just draw a rib cage by drawing a little sphere. And then for your hip bones, all you got to do is take a cone or like a tube, and then angle in the holes. So that's it. Take a cylinder an angle in the holes for hip bones. And then you can make them as wide as you want or as narrow as you want or anywhere in between. You can change the angles of them so it goes from the front up and down, left and right, blah, 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 blah. You can like move that shape in any way, shape, or form you want. Okay. So you have that, and then all you do is you outline this into a tail. It's actually that easy. You go from your rib cage to your hip bones. Your hip bone is going to curve out to the widest part of your tail. And then it tapers into whatever type of tail you want. If you want one of the sides of the hip to be bigger, you just draw one side a little bit higher. And if you want to draw it in perspective, just draw the booty going in the back instead of just going wide. And that is how you draw mermaids, like ridiculously easy. Now, this could be a man mermaid, this could be a female mermaid, a beer belly mermaid. Yeah, like you can draw whatever you want when you get to this level. Shoulders, pectoral muscles, biceps, forearm split, back muscles last. I have to come up with like little songs for you guys. And then hip bones has a beer belly. Come around. Okay, let's draw another one. Let's draw a little pretty. So the way that you connect the head to the bottom of or to the rib cage is you find your collarbone, and then you connect the bottom of the ears to the middle of your collarbone. Then you decide the width of your neck, and since this is going to be the pivoting point for our shoulders and stuff, it just connects it to the side of the arms. And there, things like breasts and stuff like that come out from the body shape, creating even more like little guides and stuff like that for you to be able to follow. Sometimes it's easier to just draw the part that you want to see for the arm and then connect that back to the mapping point. Right, so I know my arm is there and it has to be two sections. So I'm going to make an interacting. Something like clamshells or anything like a bra is going to wrap around like a hemisphere around your breast. It's kind of like the same thing that we do with the eyes. You're going to draw with your bathing suits and your tops and your bras and stuff like that. Rib cage into hip bones, depending on how much body fat you can do. As you notice, I can give it like a beer belly, I can give it love handles if I wanted to. But in this case, with a little like petite mermaid, I'm just going to follow this into the stomach. from the bottom of the rib cage down to where the crotch would be where my ab muscles fall. As you can see, that is where this little overlap happens into my tail. If I want something wrapping around the front, I can make it wrapping around. These are simple to do. These are literally just circles inside of a circle, circle inside of a circle, but extending a little bit outside. Okay? That's all those are. Circle into the middle part of the circle in the back. Okay, let's continue on to the next mermaid. This one will have really, I don't know, what should we draw this one as? Like all majestic maybe? Let's draw high shoulders, smaller boobs, because you don't always have to draw like ridiculously large breasts to make the character look appealing. My arms come from my shoulders. Choose the width of my arms on my rib cage. Then I'm going to fill out abs, rib cage muscles, chest muscles into my hands. Let's make this one into an elf mermaid. And one of the arms will be down. One of the measurements that you got to measure is that the bottom of the arm, or where the elbow is going to normally match the bottom of your rib cage. And then from there, your forearm is going to reach out about the same distance as from here to here is going to be the distance from your forearm and the palm of your hand minus your fingers. So your forearm and your palm of your hand minus your fingers is going to be the same distance as going up to your shoulders. And you can test that yourself right now. Bend your arm. Just bend your arm and see where your hand lands. Unless you have extraordinarily long hands or like arms, you're going to see that most of the time you're going to have your shoulder, your bicep, and your tricep. When the elbow, when the forearm is bent, you're going to end up in a situation where you draw up until your hands, your fingers being on top. Please let me know if that's accurate. I'm pretty sure it is, but if you guys have just figured this out too, please let me know. So your fingers come on top of this, right? So that is the distance from your arms. That is a normal, like basic structure that you guys can keep in mind. Like it doesn't have to be like that. You can, once you understand this, right? Once you understand how this works, well, now you can change the ratios. Like if you understand that that's the ratio to the palm, right? Now you can start changing it, make one smaller, make one longer, and see what happens when that happens. You know, like, but at least it's gonna be based on more accurate, like, information, and now it's gonna look right, much more than a person that does not know how to measure it out, and then they try to exaggerate it. Like it's. I know it sounds weird, but it makes so much sense. Like, let's try another way. Let's make like a gigantic forearm and palm. Okay, into an equally gigantic upper part, but smaller. So as you guys can see, that is just a way to understand the arm a little bit more proportion so that you guys don't have so many issues, right? So now whenever you guys are practicing your arms, you guys can literally just do a check mark for the top and the bottom. Since you know that they're supposed to match, you know that this is your wrist or your hand or whichever part of the arm you want to like draw it more accurately. And it's just going to be easier for you. Check, check. So check, check. And then you combine that with the other things that we've learned, and you end up getting pretty interesting drawings. All right. So is that a good enough lesson on mermaids? So, like I said, like it's just a matter of drawing your hip bones, drawing your rib cage, drawing your hip bones as a cone or as a tube with angled end lines, connecting the outsides, and knowing that the hips for your mermaid are going to be wider a little bit underneath your hips. So you end up with, and then you can just draw any shape for the tail. Honestly, like you can just make it flow. It can be anything you want. Collarbone leads to where the boobs go, which also leads to your head. You can draw a mask to like make sure that it's accurate and start drawing the features. Ear to collarbone. Arms rotate from here. So you can draw a hand going in this direction or something. Bottom of the rib cage to edge of the base. That's my abs. Gives me my little indentation right there. My rib cage goes around and whatever hair I like. Hey, hooray! Bras is like a hemisphere going around the shape of my breast. Eyelashes, eyebrows. All right, one more. Yeah, if you guys wanna, yeah, start asking questions again. I might use my crunch bar because I don't want to start getting busy. So ask me questions if you guys want. Hmm. Okay, foreshortening. We'll do foreshortening. Foreshortening is not hard. I'll show you guys in a second. Like literally, I showed people in like 15 seconds. Foreshortening is stupidly easy. What about hats? Hats are really easy too. If you learn how to draw a shape around the shape, like a circle inside a circle, expand that, do it this way, boom, a hat. Circle inside a circle is the key, guys. Circles inside of circles is literally the key to like drawing so many things. Like, drawing hats from every single direction is very easy when you can just visualize your shape through your shape. If I get tickets to Lightbox, I might go. I really like going, but I might not be in the country. How do you deal with perfectionism? What's perfection? Like I just asked myself, what is perfection? Is that subjective to me? Then if it's subjective to me, it's not perfection. It's just perfect for me. So you're essentially telling yourself that you just don't like your artwork. Be proud of what you're doing. You're a fan. Like if you're able to draw, you're amazing. Like it's that simple. If you're able to draw, you're fucking amazing. So if it's not perfect, it's still really, really cool. Like you don't have to always be able to draw something like absolutely perfect. None of these are perfect, and I love drawing them. Absolutely nothing that I draw is perfect. Everything has imperfections, but in itself, that imperfection is the beautiful part. Well, I can take any of these drawings and just take them into Procreate or Photoshop and then just map them out and do like a really cool render or even realistic stuff or whatever. But it loses its charm. Like I like doing things like this because it's super fun for me. It pushes me to be able to draw something with just a pen and a highlighter. Mm-hmm. All right, let's continue on. All right, foreshortening. Okay, if you do not understand foreshortening, hit the heart button. If you understand foreshortening, hit the share button. And I want to see how many people think they understand foreshortening and how many people don't understand foreshortening. So if you don't, hit the heart. If you do, hit the share. So I'm not seeing a lot of shares. So I'm going to have to explain this from scratch. Okay, let's do that. I'm going to show you guys foreshortening in like 2 seconds. Okay, I'm going to go into foreshortening with the assumption that you understand how to draw a simple shape. Make a circle. The next step is going to draw 2 shapes. Draw them close to each other, that's fine. Remember that each one of these is going to have a little bit of volume, right? So they're going to be solid shapes. So as you start, you're going to start merging them together, little by little. You're eventually going to get to the point where they're very, very close together. But you're not just going to join them. You're just going to connect them and make one big shape from these by following these little lines. You'll show you guys how to do that. Now your 2 circles. You are going to connect one of the sides and don't follow these lines all the way through to create an overlap. You can still follow these guidelines that you drew. They still fall in the same exact places. Right? So once you understand how to do that, you're going to go and you're going to do this, and you're going to change the sizes of things. You're going to change the front, the front. Actually, you're going to do this first. You're going to start making them a little bit longer. Right? You're going to start making them a little bit longer so you get used to a more elongated shape, which ends up being more like a cylinder that's tapering. Right? So once you go from there, you can start doing that and then making one of them bigger than the other. So we're going to make one big one, one little one. We're going to connect them. And we're going to create the perspective lines. And now this looks like it's a lot smaller. Now, after you learn how to do that basically in every single way in shape, form, and direction, right? Once you start modifying the shape and figuring out different ways to do this, well, the next step is to add your actual anatomy to this. So at this point, this perspective understanding is done, right? To this point, the perspective is like knowledge is pretty much what you need from this is this. Then from this, you need anatomy knowledge. And anatomy knowledge is going to tell you that this simple shape that you draw is going to be something along the lines of this, right? So that same shape that you drew with the added details from your knowledge of understanding anatomy is what leads you to draw foreshortened parts. Basic little thing, and then we add our little knowledge of our muscles and our bumps and the rest of our actual body to get that shape to look like a leg. Or take that shape and make it look like a finger. Or take that shape and make it look, I don't know, like an arm or something. Right? So there's a bunch of different ways to go about it. Right? This leads to this, leads to this, leads to that, leads to this, leads to this, leads to that. Leads to anatomy knowledge, and then it just means you just have to map the things out on your body. So everything has a process, and if you skip any of these steps in order to get to where you're drawing right now, so if you didn't understand this, you probably draw based on style, which is pretty concerning if you're in a cartoon career. But if you're for a hobbyist, go ahead and do that. Like, that's literally the best way to do it. But if you're going into it as a career, you need to understand what you're drawing instead of drawing everything based on style. Like, you gotta stop thinking that drawing like Chris Sanders or like Rodgon is gonna get you a job anywhere. You need to draw like you. You need to learn to draw like you visualizing and understanding the concepts that you're putting in the plate, right? That is what you should aim to do. Draw like you. Understand based on your knowledge, based on your experiences, based on your dexterity, based on your studies that you've done, right? If you don't know how to draw someone with a big nose, go outside, find people with big noses and see how their noses look compared to like their eyes, or why does their nose look so much bigger when their eyes are little or their eyebrows are gigantic and big mustaches. You know, just go out and live life. Stop concerning yourself with styles. Stop concerning yourselves with like methods and shortcuts and stuff. Like, there's no shortcuts. I'm gonna tell you that straight up. There's no shortcuts. There's only people that are okay with the monotony of practicing over and over, and the people that aren't. And people like me that are completely okay with the monotony of drawing myself to a stupor. You know, people like me succeed. So be like me. If you want to be an artist, though, you have to be okay with practicing the same thing over and over, like a quadrillion times. You need to be okay with understanding and playing around with concepts until they make an absolute sense. So that once something makes sense, you can modify it, right? If something does not make sense and you don't know how to place an object or piece of body work or whatever, if you don't understand a part of the body or where it's structured, it's going to be really hard for you to stylize it to a point where you feel like you're doing something really dope. You know, you're always going to feel like maybe you're not drawing like in your own particular way. And, you know, odds are that if you're basing everything on style, you're going to just be copying the way that other people draw noses, drawing the same way that other people draw mouths, instead of actually breaking it down and, you know, seeing that you can come up with a bunch of different mouths and lips and stuff like that that you might not know that you could by just simply learning how to map out your things in perspective a little bit. By drawing a circle inside of a circle. How do you draw the same person over again? Take the proportions that you have, take them into smaller sections, right? map out things based on proximity to those smaller sections. So you're not doing the entire head at once. And then whenever those mapping points hit, just try to draw them as accurately as you can. This gets easier when you understand like how your body is like work and stuff. I think the eyes are slightly bigger. Chin is a little small. Hey, number 117 member of the team. I don't even know what that thing is. What does it mean to be part of my team? Like, I do not know. Like, is there like some hidden thing that I have not like learned? Yeah, it was too big. Draw my lips. Upper lip. Remember like how we drew the lips as a rubber band? So keep that in mind for profiles. Because when you're drawing a profile, right? When you're drawing lips, this upper lip overlaps the bottom lip. So just draw the upper lip and then draw the bottom lip connecting to the edge or a little bit before, and then just bring it in. Like it's incredibly easy. Like make the bottom lip whatever width you want for it, and then the bottom lip goes from a little bit here, not close to the edge, and then it just wraps around to the other side of the mouth. Remember, it's a rubber band. When the mouth is closed, it's that simple. It's just creating two little lines going around. You just have to learn how to overlap it the right way. And the same thing happens with most profiles. So you have your nose, and then you have your lip, which goes from one point to the other point on the other side, wrapping around. Draw your upper lip first, and then draw your lower lip inside. So that's just another easy way to draw mouths that, like mouths are not hard. Mouths are rubber band with 2 points, overlap the top line, add lips inside, or add teeth inside. 2 points, connect, connect, make top line darker and overlap, make teeth. Boom. Any shape can be a mouth. Mouths are easy. Eyes are easy. Because eyes are the same thing. Pick 2 points, connect dots, overlap lines, create negative space. Stylized to the hell and back. Two lines, connect the dots in a circular motion, overlap the top line, create details inside. Eye. Like it's incredibly easy. Like just connect two dots, overlap the top line, draw another shape outside. That's an eye, easily. Boom. It's a weird eye, but it looks like an eye, and it looks accurate. Right? So, but it's more fun than just drawing this, and then the same stereotypical eye everybody draws. So boring. Two dots, Connect the dots, overlap the top line, stylize to hell and back, add your eyelid, add the detail inside. Much cooler. So that mouths, jaws are like I've shown the jaw a million times, but let's do it again. A jaw is just a circle inside of a circle. Choose 2 points, choose your chin, and then select your jaw going to this one, going to that one. Cool. Now you have a jaw. Now, was that so hard? Normally, your jaw connects to the bottom of your ears. So wherever your ear is, which you can find by drawing a circle inside of a circle to find your ear, you can have the dots behind, underneath the ear, go to wherever the chin goes, and now you can draw characters that are cool and stylized and even animals and stuff like that. Okay? So it's just a matter of understanding the front and the back of a shape is such an important trait, dude. Like I have no idea how to explain to you how important it is to be able to do that. Like it facilitates everything. Like drawing that circle connecting from this point to my other ear gives me my mask immediately. I have my triangle for my nose, my little egg shape for my mouth. So I already know where my mouth is going to be, my eyes, my eyebrows, my nose, jaws, my chin. I already know where everything goes. I just need to decide on how to stylize it at that point. Yeah. How many followers are we at now? Let me know in the comments. The jaw is easy. The jaw is fast. The jaw connects to those dots in your hand. I have been thinking about like little jingles, like just to make people remember like how to draw things. Um, I have no shame, and I love karaoke. So one day you guys will be stuck with me singing about shapes and how they connect. Yeah. 88. What? How are we going down? How are we going down? We were at 189. Jesus Christ. Well, we have to get all the way up to 200,000, or at least 190 today, and we'll try to like push that to 200,000 some other time. But man, please help me by sharing the stream as much as you guys can. Click that little like button. Blah, 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 blah. Do the things. I can't complain though. I've gained so many followers in like the last like couple weeks. It's like ridiculous. Let's see, what should this guy's deal be? Alright, now let's see. Let's just draw some faces. Just fill out that whole page with faces. So feel free to ask some more questions if you guys want. Until then, I'm going to try to draw faces in a bunch of different ways so you guys hopefully have one of them click. So I'm going to do essentially the butterfly approach. I haven't taught you guys that one yet. It's been a while since I taught that one, so I'll teach you guys that one in a second. So the butterfly approach to faces is very fun. Essentially, just take any shape. It can be any shape. Draw the midline is going to be your butterfly. So draw up until your triangle. You're still going to use the triangle for your nose. That's just not going to change. So we're going to have that. The next step to create the rest, like the cheekbones and the eyebrows, is going to be a butterfly wing for your upper section. And then you're going to intersect it with a bottom wing that's going to be your cheekbone. The intersection between these two is going to give you the perfect shape for your eye. So you can change the ratios of these and see what happens with your characters. You can have a lot of really fun ideas with them. So let's change another ratio. Let's do like one with really big eyes. Obviously, if they don't match, make sure they match. And the beauty of this one is that it also gives you the curvature of the cheekbones, right? So you already have that curvature that you need for 3/4 face views. So that's another approach that you guys can take whenever you guys are drawing your characters. I like using it especially in 3/4 views because I get to dictate essentially how this angle is going to be already from the get-go by just setting my little butterfly wings. This also gives me my temples down to my chin. So it's a very easy, fun way, kind of like the mask, to be able to map out your faces incredibly quick. And the style that you decide to go with is very dependent on you. It doesn't matter if it's a very cartoony one or if it's a very more comic bookish one. 2 dots connected, overlap the top line, draw my negative space. Chin, eyes. So make a Discord server. I have one and I'm horrible because I don't ever update it and I'm sucky. And it's only one person and I don't like doing things like that. I love creating content. I just don't not like human interaction normally outside of my lessons. I know it sounds weird, but it's I like teaching to the masses because I can teach a single topic and not have to really, be constantly checking and messaging back and letting people down. Like one of the worst things that I like to do is let people down. Like it's only me, man. So sometimes it's a little overwhelming. Like I think I stopped posting on my Discord for my subscribers, because it just got overwhelming and I didn't know what to do and I just felt ashamed and I started feeling bad because I couldn't update it, and I didn't have time to. I was trying to straight up move countries and stuff. So, that's why I don't do stuff like that. I don't like doing it because I let people down and I don't like doing that. I'd rather you guys just get a lesson from you guys every day and know that I'm gonna be able to do this for you, than to try to take too much on and end up letting people down because I can't do their private lessons or because I don't like keeping things secret either. I don't like keeping information from people. So to me, a secret stream or a hidden stream is worthless. I don't like doing that. My goal is not to literally the reason that I'm doing this is so I can inform people, not to keep information from people. So that whole spectrum of creating content like that, it just doesn't work for me because I just don't like I don't like exclusivity when it comes down to knowledge. I just don't. The reason that I got into teaching and stuff like that was because I didn't want to do that. because I think that people shouldn't have to pay to be able to learn how to like expand their minds and like use their hobbies and draw better. You know, or like they shouldn't have to pay and go into debt for life to go to art school to just like like end up having to repay like hundreds of thousands of dollars for a career that doesn't necessarily lead itself to a lot of money. Like I've seen so many people suffer and like struggle because of that situation. Like just money and art, like it seems like they don't mix. You know, unless you're like capable enough to see yourself as a business person and also an artist. That is just going to be essentially what you have to see yourself as. And I teach how to do that. That's what I'd like to show you guys. How to learn. So learning to learn the proper way, and the proper way is not my way. My proper way is the way that makes sense to you. Okay. So if that's Proco, if that's Mitch Lee, if that's me, if that's Draw with Jaza, whatever like person that like get some benefit from, go and learn from them, and then learn from all the people around them, and learn of all the people that stream and do the things that like have things to do with them and stuff like that. Like your level of understanding will only expand with everything that you try to draw. Oh, dude, I passed 10,000 hours like easily like 3 years into my career. Like, and I've been doing this for 20 years. So, uh, can you do a full character start to finish? Yeah, why not? Why not? We'll even color it too with our beautiful new watercolor set from Grabby. Dun, 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 dun. No, it comes with like a beautiful, like they sent me this little set of watercolors to test out. I love it. It has a lot of colors. We normally work with this. So this is quite the upgrade to our little palette. And if you guys want this, I'm testing it out to see if it's worth the buy. And it seems like it is. It seems like it's actually decent. Like the three little pens are kind of cute because they're different sizes. But hey, if you guys feel like you guys want to like spend something on like artwork that actually kicks back to me a little bit, hey, you guys can buy these in my link in my store. But let's move this outside and let's draw characters start to finish. I like to draw myself. I don't know if you guys did I tell you guys the concept behind the base character, like behind your mannequin. The way that I like to see like drawing in general is I draw myself a lot, and you might wonder why, right? Like, yeah, this person's egotistical, this person's like blah, 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 this person doesn't. Blah, blah, blah. No, like the reason that I draw myself a lot is because I have a basis for what my character will look like, right? I know what I want to accentuate in my character. So I know the aspects of my face and how to draw them to a certain level. Now, the reasoning behind me wanting to draw myself all the time in different styles is because what I'm doing is I'm not just taking and drawing a different version of myself. No, 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 no. It goes deeper than that. You're going to take these elements that you have drawn, and you're going to see, kind of like we did with the foreshortening, we're going to start stretching them out a little. See how those elements look. All right? But I know how to draw this. This is literally the easiest way for me to draw a face, right? So taking this, I can draw this now because it's this, but altered a little. I understand this, so now I can modify it. If I know how to draw glasses for my character, well, the only difference between drawing something like this for a character that looks like me, or a character that looks like an old lady, or something like that, is just changing the shape of the eyes, maybe, a little bit, and then just modifying the character slightly based on what I already know. So I know how to draw a nose like this, so I could probably, since I know how to draw a nose like this, I can probably draw a thinner one. I can probably draw one without the top part and create a little like cute one. right? I know how to draw this shape because I practiced it a lot. So now I can turn this into anything. I can turn that same shape that I drew into a person that has a longer nose, a person that has a perky nose. Take that, right? Have all the same elements, and it's just a different character, right? So having my mannequin, the ability to draw myself is very important, mostly because I want to journal my life. My purpose in actually going into art was to journal my life. So I wanted to draw myself. I wanted to be able to draw myself doing all sorts of things, right? I wanted to draw myself experiencing my life for the most part. So at this point right now in my life, I like to draw a lot. And that means that I spend a lot of my time drawing. And that involves practicing things, learning from other artists, taking the time to actually study outside of me teaching you guys how to draw things, right? So I spend about let me give you guys an idea of my schedule. I normally wake up around 6, 7 in the morning. I go to the gym for the first time of the day. Then I eat breakfast and then I get ready to learn some things on Pinterest or any other place just so I can get a freshener on maybe something new. Normally at this point in my career, I don't really find much new stuff. Um, Honestly, I think I've exhausted a lot of the resources that I could possibly use for my own learning. So I have to start developing my own resources. So my own resource to learn is to teach, because I learned through understanding. And if I understand how to teach something, how to explain something, I can successfully say that I know it and I can move on to understand a deeper level. So whenever I'm teaching you guys, this is a selfish endeavor because I'm constantly just teaching myself how to do different things, better stuff, you know. And me explaining to you guys adds a little bit of pressure that I normally like because I'm a very competitive person, and it allows me to have that little edge without having to have anybody else here to push me to do it. So it's just it's cool. Let's see, my arm, first section to the rib cage, remember? And then from there to my palm. Actually, I'm going to draw my wrist. I know my wrist is going to be right here, and we're going to figure out the hand with the lollipop method. Okay, so we have that and that. So we have the bottom of our wrist to our middle finger. That's going to be where the top of our hand is. That means that we have this thumb hitting the pen, and then the back of them are going to be hidden behind, literally. So end up with the situation like this. Wow, that's messy. But it reads. The wrist, shoulder wraps around bicep, and then remember from the end of the bicep to the bottom of the arm, we have one line. So that means that this is twisting, creating a dent. Go to this side, our sleeve. Would it go this way or would it? Oh, yeah. We have a sleeve for our clothing. Maybe I move my shoulder this way so that I can lean it into the table, kind of like I'm sitting right now. So that means that my collarbone needs to move a little bit. So I'm going to move my collarbone so it ends up at the top of my shoulder, my sleeve, and then that means my back is going to be this way. Shoulder, bicep, forearm. And that's how they overlap. And I'm just going to go around the edge of the seat. and create a little bit of a shadow. Gonna draw my chair behind me. And I'm going to start figuring out how to draw my sketchbook to make it look like a sketchbook by just adding some contrasting lines to make it look like there's depth to this actual piece of drawing that I did. By just exemplifying the edges of it, I can make it look like it's a bunch of pieces of paper. Add a little bit of contrast with your colors, just to make everything pop a little bit more. I normally like to enhance a color that's next to where like a skin tone would be or a white area so that it looks like it stands up. There you go. Some phenomenal work recently, supersized photo real but with fantasy things, face close-ups. What? So let's do like a more detailed face. Is that all you guys want? All right. Let's see. Start adding detail to a face and see where we end up. Same concepts. I like to draw my nose first. If you guys like what you're seeing, hit the like button. Eyebrow line. And change facial expression to not make it boring. Okay, we have our nose bridge, we have the top of our nose bridge, we have the edge of our nose bridge. Then we have a little tiny space for our brow muscle, and then we have our eyeballs. So we're going to map out our eyeballs. I'm going to choose whatever eyelids. Little hemispheres for my eyes. I'm not going to keep them even, but they're going to be wrapping in the same direction, so that unevenness is going to add a little bit of more character to them. Right? Someone told me once when I was learning how to do caricatures that symmetry is so incredibly overrated. Like everybody always wants to draw like symmetrical features and stuff like that. It's so boring. Like just you're better off just like drawing fun things that just have life instead of always constantly trying to aim for like symmetry. Okay, so we have that. Our cheekbone muscle is going to be around here because of our mask. Then we get to decide if we go down or we go up. So let's go down. So we're going to have this guy pouting because he's going to be like, well, you got to judge me. Again, two dots, connect them, overlap the top, create a lip. Now he's going to have his chin up here. He's probably going to have like some little smiley lines like, and then my jaw. So to understand the bottom jaw, right, you got to understand the concept behind how your jaw is structured. So your bottom jaw tends to come in behind your cheekbone. Okay. So the bottom jaw is going to be your bottom teeth, including your molars, okay, wrapping around and coming back up. And some people have an issue understanding where these little bends go. So the little bends tend to be like 80% long and then 20% tall. Like, so whenever you're drawing, like, make it so that smaller section is smaller than this one. Okay, so a lot of people do this mistake where they make this part really, really long. So even though in some situations it looks right, especially if you have like more space in the back of the head, but if you don't have that space in the back of the head, try to keep it so that like this line in the top is a little bit smaller. Uh, it just tends to be a less rise up from your teeth than you think. So in this case scenario, we're going to connect the bottom of our ears to the side of our chin, creating our jaw. And it is shifted to the side, so this side would be a little bit more pushed than this side. Cheekbone, cheekbone to the chin. Ears have depth as well, so they have perspective. Then we come to the side of the face, and we have to just decide how much space we want to leave for the top of the head. If you want to make a like slightly more realistic look, you're going to have to make sure that you have space for your brain in there. A lot of people just forget to add space for the brain. They forget that there's a big thing right here with a brain. Right? So they have to make sure to leave space for your brain in your drawings. You can't like draw your eyes up here, like your eyebrows here, and then have like no space for your brain. Well, I guess you can if you're stylizing it a lot, but like your character's brain is going to be tiny. Cheekbone, temples. Then my hairline would be somewhere around here. And then from there, our hair could go anywhere we want. If we want it like a flat top, as long as it connects to the sides of the head at some point, it's going to look okay. Kind of like any other body part, once you understand where it comes from, as long as you bend it around and have it come back to the same place, it's going to end up fine. The neck goes from the bottom of the ears to the collarbone. The collarbone then goes around our rib cage. Depending on how wide you want your shoulders, it's going to go to the edges of your shape. From the collarbone down, you get to dictate how wide you want your arms. Cool. Also from the bottom of your ears, going down, you get to dictate the width of your neck. Your neck does not go all the way down. It goes about to the top of where your rib cage hits. And then this line overlaps, pushing that shape forward, creating this little shape in the front. This is very narrow rib cage for this character, so I'm going to expand it. Middle of the rib cage comes from the collarbone, going down, creates the rivet for the rib cage. Then from there, my pectoral muscles and my shoulders are going to come out of this area of my rib cage. I know my arm is going to go that way inside. So I know that my shoulder connects a little bit inside of my collarbone on this side and on the back as well. So it goes around this shape. Same thing on this side. My chest is going to connect from the middle to my armpit, and then the second part of my chest is going to be the lower chest, and all those fibers are going to just connect. Okay. From there, your bicep comes out from the edge of your shoulder and in this little pocket. Your shoulder is going to split your bicep and your tricep in half. So your shoulder is going to be there. It's going to split the top and the bottom of your arm right down the middle. Collarbone, back muscles, chest. From there, your forearm goes around. Another way that you guys can figure this part out is by thinking that your bicep is tucked in between a pair of boobies. That's like a butt. Literally, like think of your bicep being compressed by a butt. And that is literally the shape for that part. That's how it overlaps. Like, I know it's weird, but that is essentially how that muscle interacts. Like, so you have your bicep, you have your forearm, and you can literally just draw like a butt and have it tucked in there in the middle. And that is like, you could literally draw like a thong and like an entire female character or something right here. And that is how your bicep works. That is how it's stuck with me, at least. See what I mean? Honestly, don't force it. Don't force what? Choo choo. Choo 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 choo. Yeah, it's just easier to see like that. What? Anyways, so now that you guys understand how that bicep part connects, we are going to draw some long booty cheeks going into my forearm. Remember, from the middle of the bicep to the middle of the wrist, we have that little tiny bone thing. And then from there, our hand comes out. Lollipop approach leads us to our middle finger. One to the thumb side, two to the pinky side. Split this in half. Come up with our hand. From here to our first section is going to be the same as the two next together. So this is about as long as this. This is going to be as long as this. That's going to be as long as that. And that's Then as we go back, got our rib cage. Then we're going to have our back muscles that wrap around the back of our ribs. This would be like, I don't know, any extra like little muscles you have. These are going to be where your abs are going to go, down to where your crotch is in between your hip bones. Your hip bones are really far away from this right now. Your hip bones don't really go too far away from your rib cage, honestly. If you just bend over, you can see like how close your edge of your rib cage is to your hip bone. Literally, just bend your body right now. Like go from this, go down to this, keeping your body like that, and you'll feel your rib cage digging into your hip bone on this side. So if you have that, knowing that, I'm going to keep my collarbone or hip bones right. From the bottom of my rib cage to the bottom inside of my thing. This is where my abs are gonna go and my crotch. My crotch is gonna be from one side to the other, and then my legs are gonna come out of it. My legs come out of my hip bones at an angle, but they connect back to those holes like teardrops. Now that works with legs like this, or it works with any sort of leg in general. You can draw super simple cartoony legs, or you can draw sexy, like anatomically correct legs. Right? As long as it connects back to those holes, it's gonna look decent. It's gonna look good in any way that you draw them, any perspective that you decide to draw them. At that point, you have discovered the placement of feet. Now you can move them in any way you want. And the same thing happens with arms and with legs and everything. So my delusion moment is that, and I think I can do all this. You know, the thing is, like, if you follow the steps that I'm telling you, if you do follow the steps that I'm telling you guys, like going from like circles, perspective, and going up and working your way like that, you can. You absolutely can. You can get to every single, like literally, it just takes steps, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps. 6 steps of understanding, and you can develop this knowledge to do all this stuff. Like you can probably do that in a week. Like no joke. Like you could probably learn all the stuff that I'm teaching you in a week. Just go watch all the videos. Like I teach every step of the process several times, like in different ways. So it's just a matter of putting the time and actually going out and doing it, you know? So how many do we have now? How many followers do we have now? Did I break the 190? Did we break 190? This is, yeah. You know, I don't do this to get recognition though. Like the reason that I want recognition is so that I can get to reach more people. Like so that I can teach more people. Like that is literally the only reason that I want recognition. Like I don't like my life is comfy. Like I live at home in my own place, in a place where I'm safe and I have more than enough money to keep myself like going and be able to teach. So I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this because I just want to give back to the world. Right? So I didn't get a teacher that actually took time to like, like help me and stuff when I was in college. For the most part, like there was a couple that actually did. Like there was like one of my favorites, and I messaged him today too, and I let him know. Now his name is Bob Hannon, and he's essentially the person that put me in the right path. Like he inspired me to be able to like do a lot of things, but he just would never have known. Like, if you gotta tell the people that inspire you, they inspire you. Like, you'd be surprised how many cool messages I get like lately, and it's so nice to like get them and like honestly, you guys inspire me just as much as I might inspire you. So, how many do we have? How many do we have? Did anybody count? Did we break the 190 or not? 188 still? That can't be right. That's interesting. Anyways, I'm gonna take a small break to rest my hands because my hand is killing me. So I'm going to take a slight break, about an hour's worth of break. And then we'll jump on here again and we'll keep on going. We shall break our barrier today. All right? We'll keep on drawing arms and we'll keep on drawing all this stuff. But I need to break because my hand is killing me. So I'll see you guys back here in about an hour if you guys feel like it. If not, I'll try to upload these to YouTube, but these are going to be really long videos, so they probably will get corrupted. That tends to happen whenever I try to like upload anything that lasts longer than like an hour and a half. It just, for some reason, it just always ends up like corrupting, and I have no idea why. But if it doesn't, I will have it on YouTube. Anyways, I'll talk to you guys in a bit. Okay.